here in an elimination game here at state softball. So here we go with the Class 1A tournament. Remsen St. Mary's and North Butler facing off in an elimination game. Owen Sebring and Emery Songer on the microphone here in Class 1A. Sounds almost like a vaudeville comedy team. The stylings of Sebring and Songer coming at you in Class 1A. Emery, break this game down for me a little bit, because in this new format with the double elimination system, tell me a little bit about what's at stake in this game.
Well, indeed, this double elimination format comes into play for these two teams, as this is an elimination game between two teams that had very different experiences here last night. Let's go ahead and start first of all with North Butler. They're the 7th seed. They played Clarksville, who's less than 15 miles away from them, and had 4 shots to finish them off in the 7th inning or later in what became a 15-inning epic across the entirety of 4.5 hours.
Unreal game
yesterday. So coming back from that, knowing your season's on the line today, it's better than being eliminated for sure. But at the same time, you had a pitcher throw through over 160 pitches that you're going to have out there in Camry Grown. You also are facing a team that is fighting for their tournament lives in Remsen St. Mary's. They really didn't get going yesterday at all, ever. St. Edmund Fort Dodge was able to really take control of that game. Ran right through the order multiple times.
I think only 2 hits for Remsen St. Mary's in that game, I think. Ended it early.
2 bats for everybody, and that was it. And we only, they were able to get through just, I believe, 3 times through the order. So, only 1-3 at-bat game. That was for the leadoff batter, Chloe Holman. So, it was a very quiet day overall in the scorebook for Remsen St. Mary's. And they would like to show what they can do offensively a bit. But Camry Grown is going to be the star player for the Bearcats here, as she will be doing so in the circle and at the plate, doing everything that she can to help try to keep North Butler's season alive. Based on the results that we saw yesterday, North Butler certainly looked like the better team, but they're actually the lower seed. They're the 7th seed in the bracket. Remsen St. Mary's is a 6th seed. Believe first ever meeting between these two teams. Haven't faced off in the Go Bound era, and North Butler, I think that school combined between Greene and Allison Bristow back in 2004, so likely the first ever meeting between these two softball programs in their school history. Let's start running through some of the starting lineups. Let's start with North Butler, the visiting team in the scorebook, so they're going to be batting first. Zoe Thompson leading things off, a terrific fielder and batter. She's at number 2. Shortstop, sophomore. Charlotte Shook coming up next. She's the catcher. Camry Grown, a junior pitcher. She's where this team really does find its form, and she's going to set the tempo in the circle and at the plate. Just an unbelievable hitter and a great pitcher for North Butler. Cleanup batter is going to be Harper Ingalls, an 8th grader playing second base. Then is Mackenzie Schultz, sophomore, center fielder. Kylie Grown up next. We've already talked about 2 of the Grown sisters. This one, Kylie, she's a freshman, plays third base. Briley Hinsey, a junior designated player. She bats for the left fielder, Colby Wicks. In the 8th spot is Grace Pittenger, a junior right fielder. And then closing things out is Eden Wicks, a sophomore first baseman. But don't let that spot in the order fool you. Eden Wicks homered in yesterday's game against Clarksville. Really great bat for her in that 9th spot as well. Let's flip it over to Remsen St. Mary's, the 6th seed in this bracket. Chloe Holman, a freshman, the shortstop, leading things off. Then it's Lanning Youngers, a senior left fielder. Hallie Bunkers, a junior third baseman. In the cleanup spot is Grace Gallus, senior catcher. Mia Matchin, junior center fielder in the 5 spot. Next is Sophia Harpanaugh, a sophomore right fielder. The Harpanaugh name continues to have a strong athletic history at Remsen St. Mary's. Neely Bacon, the senior pitcher for Remsen. A heavy senior lineup. Neely Bacon, she looked good at times yesterday, but in the end of the Fort Dodge St. Edmund lineup just got to her a little bit too much. Next up is Josie Schwickrath, another senior playing first base. And in the 9th spot is Kimberly Cronin, sophomore designated player. She's batting for Dylan Schrader, the freshman second baseman. Is there anybody who jumps off the page for you right away, Emery? Somebody on each team maybe that comes up as somebody who's going to really set the tempo for today's game? Well, I'm going to avoid the obvious with Camry Grown on the North Butler side. I'm going to go with her sister, Kylie Grown.
Okay.
Defensively, specifically, she was making a big difference in that Clarksville game last night. When you have somebody who you can really rely on defensively at the hot corner, I think that makes a difference. But they're going to need a second bat, a secondary RBI threat in that order. On the other side for Remsen St. Mary's, we didn't really get to see what this team was really capable of against St. Edmund yesterday. It's got to be the table setter at the top, though. Chloe Holman had an incredible season this year and really needs to get on base, start to wreak that havoc. We know a lot of these teams, especially teams that are used to playing in these types of games, they like to get on, try to run the bases, steal some bases, take an extra base on balls hit into play. And there just wasn't a whole lot of that going on as far as Remsen St. Mary's was concerned yesterday. So I would say Chloe Homan's going to have to be the name to table set and score some runs here if the Hawks want their season to continue.
The 2026 Girls State Softball Tournament presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau as sole title sponsor for the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. Iowa Farm Bureau believes in the Iowa girl and cultivating individuals with great character, a strong work ethic, and exceptional leadership skills. By investing in Iowa's youth, we are investing in Iowa's future. Speaking of the future, a couple young coaches in this game, or at least coaches who are early in their careers at these schools, between Austin Guerrero at North Butler and Erica Bates at Remsen St. Mary's.
Yeah, and this is the other thing. We were talking about Austin Guerrero especially yesterday, and just how early he got into coaching. I mean, as soon as he was out of high school,
literally,
he was coaching in one sport or another, and here he is still in his late 20s. But he's also in his fourth season with this school and trying to find a way with North Butler to make them, a power in a lot of ways. He's the guy, another guy you really have to watch today, not just because of his aggressiveness in the third base coach's box, but getting these players ready to go after what was one of the most heartbreaking losses I can remember seeing of any sport, of any team. Overall, it was really, really tough, and we'll see how they bounce back today.
So Zoe Thompson, the sophomore shortstop for North Butler, trying to set the tempo for the Bearcats as they come back after playing 15 innings yesterday. Again, I have to give credit to my partner, Emery Songer, who has been on the call for two of the longest games in state tournament history, maybe two of the three longest games by inning in the history of the girls' state tournament, honestly. You were on the call for Regina and Eddiesville, Blakesburg. Was it Fremont back then?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, and when as soon as they went to 5 classes, you have more teams, you have more games. It's 2-1 here to Thompson. What are the odds that one guy is doing play-by-play broadcasts for 2 of those games in 2 completely different classes, 9 years apart?
But that guy is Emery Songer, and we're happy to have him with us.
Well, I'm glad you are.
That one chopped down to the plate and back, so it's 2-2 on Thompson. First batter of the game, Neely Bacon. Gets the ball back, trying to set the tempo a little bit better than she did yesterday. Fort Dodge St. just came out and started knocking her around right away, and Bacon just never seemed to be able to get her feet under her and be able to set the stage like she wanted to, and trying to do that today. Ball driven into center field, and that's going to drop for a hit. Zoe Thompson setting the stage right away, getting a single into left center field. Right off the bat, North Butler picks up just where they left off yesterday. Even though they lost that game, what was the final on that one? 12-11, I think.
12-11. Yeah, and she scored 3 of the runs. I didn't finish my book because I had no space to in my book with the 15-inning game. But, she got better as the game wore on. Her last 2 at-bats, she doubled twice in extra innings. So she really is, she's a great leadoff hitter, and she averages almost 500 this season at the plate, and she's a great base runner. She didn't steal there, but I'd be on the lookout for her.
Yep.
But now her last 3 at-bats, double, single here, and when she's getting on base, that's going to give a lot of confidence to the hitters behind her.
At the plate now is Charlotte Shook, the freshman catcher for North Butler. She was 3 for 7 yesterday with 3 RBI. Very few times we'll see 7 AB. She drops that one down for a bunt, but it falls back behind the batter's box. So
she's out.
Oh,
it hit her outside the box.
Oh, so she looks like she must have hit it with her foot outside the batter's box, so that's going to count as an out. First out of the inning.
Yeah, Austin Guerrero is going to ask about that because, it is the home plate umpire's call there. If she's anywhere outside the box, it makes contact with that ball in play. And the home plate umpire having to make that call, John Nonson, that's a tough way to have your second hitter be ruled out.
Yeah, when you're trying to set the tempo and start to get things going, you don't want to see that happen because she's got the wheels that she could have maybe made it first base on a bunt. But out number 1 there for North Butler as Camry Groen, junior pitcher, steps into the plate now, tries to get things going for North Butler. We'll set the stage as we see one fouled off for the umpires in this game. John Nonson behind the plate, Shane Weigel over at first base, and then Josh Perkins, man in third base. As the umpires we have here, full crews all around. Love seeing the work that they're putting in today, and
love the pink shirts too.
It's a good look, and the umpires are, they've had to endure a lot with the heat that we had yesterday. Had to sub in, as we see a stolen base here. Zoe Thompson, as we've talked about her speed all game, she goes over to second base and is in there cleanly. And so now we've got a runner in scoring position for Camry Groen as she tries to get things going here. But we had to have an umpire subbed out after the 7th inning of yesterday's 15-inning affair.
Yeah, and we had a 5th home plate umpire basically lined up because you needed 8 innings out of the 2nd umpire.
Zoe Thompson trying to use that speed again as she's over at second base now. Camry Grown in yesterday's game went 3 for 6, 1 run scored, 1 RBI. One of the stars of this team who's trying to set the stage for what the future of North Butler could be, as they've had a nice little run in recent years. That one down low for ball 2. So we've got is that just ball? Ball 2. So we've got a 2-2 count now on Camry Grown. Thompson at second base. North Butler trying to start this game just like they did yesterday. They scored 2 runs in the first inning yesterday against Clarksville. Grown with a liner down the third base line. They look back the runner, but she still goes, and the throw is wide to first base. Here comes Thompson. Going to touch home for another run to get this game started. Camry Grown able to get to first base cleanly off of that throwing error from third base.
I think
Thompson,
if I had to pick, sorry to step in, but
come on in, Emery.
I think Schwickerath just misplayed the throw. It looked to me that it was like.
You think it was a clean throw?
I mean, it's tough to tell from our angle exactly how close it was, but I think Schwickerath just missed the throw, to be honest. Yeah. So got a courtesy runner over there at first base as Harper Ingalls digs in, but that's a tough way to give up a run to a North Butler team that you know is going to be pushing the issue.
Yeah, North Butler, even in 70s, we see a bunt tried to drop down, but that goes foul, so the courtesy runner will retreat. That's number 20, standing on first base now for North Butler. That'll be Camry Grown. Beg your pardon. So this is number 20 at first base.
Zoe Parno. And of course, all substitutions brought to you by IMT Insurance. Learn how you can be worry-free with IMT. IMTINS.com.
0-2 count. Pitch comes in, swung on and missed. That's the first strikeout of the game for Neely Bacon. Got to feel good to get that second out in such a manner. Yesterday, again, could never quite get her legs under her, so it's got to feel good to get that strikeout right away in this game and at least get one out away from getting out of this top of the first inning.
Yeah, and when you're thinking about this from a pitcher's perspective, and we've been talking about this in the handful of games we've already done this week, the defense is, that can really hurt your pitcher in not just in the scorebook, but just mentally, right? And so you want to trust your defense, but we've seen so many teams just have misplays in the field, and it's about forgetting that. They talk about all of these players, especially in baseball, softball, field goal kickers like that. You just have to forget about
another stolen base attempt. She goes over, and she is in there cleanly, too, and now she's going to keep going. The overthrow to second base, the throw to third base is not quite in time. So the courtesy runner makes it over to the third. Stolen base, and now we've got a runner back again in scoring position for North Butler with Mackenzie Schultz at the plate. A 1-1 count against her as she tries to tack on, have another 2-run first inning for North Butler.
That ball somehow got through Dylan Schrader and Chloe Homan. Not Homan, it looked like it just kind of went through her wickets there. I'm sure that the error will go E2 to Gallus behind the plate, but it allows the extra base here.
And another driven ball that's going to drop into shallow right field, and another run's going to score. The courtesy runner, Zoe Parno, is in safely, and Mackenzie Schultz on just a little flare that kind of hit on the back side of the dirt, just right in front of where the grass is. Kind of no man's land over there because first baseman, she's playing up a little bit, and second baseman can't quite get over there. Tough play for anybody, but a short infield single leads to an RBI for Mackenzie Schultz, and now here's North Butler again with a 2-0 lead, exact same way that they started yesterday's game.
Yeah, it was just one of those things. You hit it where they ain't, that's what they always say. But one of the things about this offense is they seem to feed on each other. When one player is getting going, it feels like it really feeds the batters behind them. And just the extra outs, the extra bases, 2 errors already in the inning, it puts a lot on somebody like Neely Bacon, who now is going to have to try to navigate this lineup the way that, pitchers would prefer to have their defense playing strong behind her, but maybe she's feeling like she's got to rely on the strikeout ball.
Bacon's now got an 0-2 count, early lead against Kylie Grown, the freshman of the Grown sisters. Bacon only, I believe, had 2 strikeouts in yesterday's game against Fort Dodge St. Edmund. Already got 1 so far in this inning, and Going to try to get another one. Swung on and missed. Kylie Grown well behind that one, and they're going to throw down to first base just to complete the situation, but that will do it. So another 2-run first inning for North Butler, taking an early lead right now. We'll be right back with more softball. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament presented by Iowa Farm Bureau on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
At Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Yeah, it's a trip when you hit the road. And when you know when you've arrived. It's a trip when you get everything you want. The burger and the fries, the creek and the crick, the city and the countryside. It's a trip when you're where you're meant to be. In this moment, in this bathroom mirror, looking like $1 million. And yeah, it's a trip when it goes by fast. Des Moines. It's a trip. Make it yours.
We are back after just a half an inning here at the state softball tournament. 1A elimination bracket we're in. North Butler took an early 2-0 lead. Same thing that they did yesterday against the 2 seed out of Clarksville. Now we're going to see if pitcher Camry Grown can step in and do her thing against the Remsen St. Mary's batters. Remsen held off the board yesterday, lost 8-0 in their first round game against Fort Dodge St. Edmund. Trying to do something here. We're going to see Chloe Homan, Lenny Youngers, and Hallie Bunkers stepping to the plate here in the top of the first. Chloe Homan, a freshman, shortstop for Remsen St. Mary's. Going to get things let off here as she sees a ball go by high for ball 1. Chloe Homan 0 for 3 yesterday. She was the only Remsen St. Mary's batter who saw the plate 3 times yesterday. Finished things off so early that most batters only got to the plate a couple times.
Now it shows you what Torrin Helly and Fort Dodge St. Edmund, they have to feel as good as anybody after the first day of the tournament. I know Edgewood Colesburg had the 8-1 upset, and then Clarksville finding a way to battle back 4 times to win in 15 innings. And you talk about Southeast Warren scoring 21 runs, but I'm not sure anybody felt better than St. Edmund did at the end of last night's first round. And Remsen St. Mary's just happened to be the victim of St. Edmund's machine-like victory last night.
Homan dropping one down the third base side foul, so it's a 1-2 count against Remsen St. Mary's as they try to get going here. I'm trying to check back some of my old box scores here just to see, okay, how many strikeouts did Camry Grown have yesterday? But my box score took up 2 sheets of paper, so it's hard to tally anything up as another ball sails in there high. So a 2-2 count now against Chloe Homan.
Well, she had 6 strikeouts in her 9 1/3 innings of work. But at the same time, right, it was just such a weird game, like from start to finish. I don't think anybody would say it was a typical normal game by any means.
Another one upstairs, so we're going to see a full count here to Chloe Homan, Camry Grown, trying to get things off in the first batter.
And this is another thing, too, for her is she's trying to understand, how to come back from throwing 160-plus pitches yesterday and then having her team lose the way that they did to come back and try to be a shutdown pitcher once again here and issues a leadoff walk to Homan, who, by the way, I told you, if Remsen St. Mary's is going to get something offensively going, it's got to start right there at the leadoff spot with Homan, so a good at-bat from her to get on.
Get somebody on base for one of the seniors, batting in the number 2 spot, the left fielder, Lana Youngers. Somebody who can do some damage out there at the plate, and Remsen St. Mary's, after getting shut out yesterday, trying to find any sort of momentum here. Just don't want to get it started like they did get yesterday against Fort Dodge St. Edmunds, because a lot of times in softball and in high school sports, once you kind of get on your back foot, once you're playing on your heels, it's hard to come back from that. That's kind of what we saw. I feel like just Remsen didn't seem like they could ever find any footing in that game yesterday, as we see another one just barely outside of the zone. That one just a little bit high for Camry Grown, and so it's a 2-0 count quickly against Youngers.
Yeah, and Grown, this is the one thing you just don't want to have happen is come back out here knowing you threw all those pitches yesterday, knowing your team really needs a good outing, and having a situation where you have a hard time finding the strike zone. You don't want to cough up the lead that your offense was able to get for you in the top of the first inning, including, she was part of that offense too, but still, got to throw some strikes.
Grown in one there. This one's going to loop into shallow right field, and that's in for a hit too. 2 batters in, and now Homan's going to go to third base.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it's more likely than not that runner is going to just take third. But Homan really kind of slowed up, rounding second, and then decided late to run to third. But because of how defenses typically work, they don't want to have to make that extra throw unless they know they have the out.
Yep.
So they didn't even try throwing it to third base. So she gets third base anyway. And now how about this? Runners on the corners and nobody out for Remsen St. Mary's.
Exactly how they wanted to start this game after giving up 2 runs early. This is what you want to see. Now we're seeing bunt here as a steal goes across. No real attempt to throw over, just one of those defensive indifference situations. I always wonder if there's a way to score defensive indifference. But Youngers is over to second base now.
It's defensive indifference that also gets called as a steal because of the situation. It's just very, very interesting, and you make the defense have to make a play.
So Hallie Bunkers now flies one into right field. That'll be an out, and the tag at third base. Chloe Holman is in, and the freshman will score the first run of the game.
And they got her.
Double play. 9-2-6? Or was that 9-2-5? The Lanny Youngers went over to third base, overshot it a little bit. She kind of started to round the base a bit, kind of stumbled down, and so great play there by the catcher because Holman had tagged up from third base, so she scores a run. So there is 1 run on the board for Remsen St. Mary's. Bunkers was out on the fly out, but then Youngers ends up getting a little bit too greedy, comes off the bag a little bit, and then gets doubled off. And now we've got Grace Gallus at the plate. See if she can get runners on again, the senior catcher from Remsen St. Mary's. Did I miss anything there?
No, and it's interesting, right? You said it first off. She just kind of overshot the bag. She wanted to, I think, stay standing, but then at last minute kind of went a step too far and then tried to dive back in, and a good job by Groen at third base, keeping the tag applied, and then base umpire Josh Perkins rung her up, and that's a huge out in the inning because it would have been a runner on third in less than 2 outs.
Yeah, exactly what North Butler needs, and it's so important in situations like that just to keep your head on straight. Again, North Butler not getting they had to do that so many times yesterday, so good practice at that, and just being smart about knowing the situation, knowing to look over after the runner already scores, go ahead and see if you can find something over at third base, and they found themselves an out. We've got a 3-1 count now to Grace Gallus, who's at the plate. The cleanup batter for Remsen St. Mary's, trying to keep the inning going. We've got 2 outs now. See if she can extend things for the Hawks. Groen comes in and toes the rubber again. That is in there for a ball, and so we see another walk. Second walk of the inning for Camry Groen. So base runner again for Remsen St. Mary's.
Mia Magid coming up here.
Yep.
She was one of the 2 players with a hit as we got the courtesy runner here for the catcher, Gallus.
And so number 21 stepping in here for Remsen St. Mary's going to first base. That is Kinley Tintinger, or something like that. So she's going to be doing the courtesy running for the catcher, Grace Gallus. And Mia Matgen, the junior center fielder, stepping to the plate now. Trying to see if she can extend the inning, too. North Butler, after scoring 2 runs in the first, has that lead sawed in half as the first pitch from Groen goes high for ball 1. Matkin, seeing if she can keep the momentum alive. Remsen St. Mary's has to feel good about just even getting 1 run across after getting blanked yesterday in an 8-0 loss, even finding a little bit of momentum. Boy, that pitch, catches the outside corner, so we do have an 0-2 count now quickly.
Those are 2 if you're the batter, you just got to adjust to, if you're Matkin, left-handed batter here facing against Groen, it's a completely different look than the righties that we've seen so far.
That one goes high for ball 1, so 1-2 count.
Yeah, and this is the other thing, too. We've had so many strange plays so far in this tournament. It's just pitch to pitch for a pitcher, just trying to block all that out and just throw the next pitch as well as you can.
And that one swung on and missed for strike 3. Mia Matgun gets cut down by Camry Groen. Her first strikeout of the game will end the bottom of the first inning as North Butler retains their 2-1 lead. 1 run scored, but North Butler still with the advantage. We'll be right back with the second inning on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Hey, Frank. Oh, it looks like you spilled some grease.
Grills are multiplying and you need flavor that's bold.
There's nothing left for you to do
but to go to Fairway, your dream for Midwest meat. It's the one you need. Oh, yes, indeed. Whoa. Oh, you better stake up. Fairway and meat go hand in hand.
This dream is meant for you and me.
Poultry, pork, and beef, your home for Midwest meat.
Fairway, it's the one you need.
We are back with state tournament softball Class 1A elimination game here in the top of the second inning. Owen Sebring and Emery Songer. Briley Hinsey, the junior designated player, starting things off here in the second for North Butler after they scored 2 runs in the top of the first. We're going to see Briley Hinsey, Grace Pittenger, and then Eden Wicks to close out the order. As we see a ball go wide, so we've got a 1-1 count against Briley Hinsey just to set a little bit of the defense here for Remsen St. Mary's. We've got Neely Bacon, of course, the pitcher. Catching is Grace Gallus. At first base is Josie Schwickrath. Second base is Dylan Schrader. This ball fouled up and out of play. A 1-2 count for Neely Bacon, who goes ahead. Shortstop is Chloe Holman. At third is Hallie Bunkers. And then in the outfield left is Lana Youngers. Center field, Mia Matgun. And in the right field spot, sophomore Sophia Harpinaugh. The Harpinaugh name, as I mentioned, is a popular one over at Remsen St. Mary's. One of the best high school baseball players I ever saw is Blaine Harpinaugh. Just an unbelievable pitcher for the Hawks. Led them to the state tournaments. I think went to the semis or the finals a couple times in his high school career before going on and playing a lot of college baseball at a few different spots. But we have Sophia Harpinaugh sitting out in right field now for the Hawks. And here in the second inning, a 2-2 count against Briley Hinsey, who tries to get things going again for North Butler. Swung on and missed. Neely Bacon, who only had 2 strikeouts for the entire game yesterday. That's now her 3rd strikeout, 3rd K in the last 4 batters she's faced.
It's, as a pitcher, and we talked about the defense and everything, the one thing you can do is take matters into your own hands as a pitcher, but nothing will give you more personal confidence than seeing swings and misses.
Yeah.
And that's what she's seeing here the last 4 batters.
So at the plate now is Grace Pittenger, the junior right fielder for North Butler. In yesterday's game, in that 15-inning affair, Pittenger, she went 0 for 4, saw the plate 4 times, and then she got subbed out late in the game, so had a couple of pinch hitters late in the game for her. Pittenger looking for her first hit here in Fort Dodge. Slow roller back to the pitcher, and Bacon's going to handle it, go over to first. Clean operation for the Hawks. Out number 2, get 2 outs right away, and that 2 is exactly what they would have wanted to see after giving up those 2 early runs in the first inning. Getting a couple quick, easy outs is good news for the Hawks as they go now to Eden Wicks, the sophomore first baseman, to close out the order.
Yeah, and yesterday she had a big swing, hit a home run out to center field. We didn't see a lot of home runs yesterday, as especially a little later in the evening, things were kind of getting sticky out there, and the wind, for whatever it's worth, is blowing in on our field here right now. But not a likely candidate for a home run, and she hit a solo bomb in a state tournament game. Good for her.
Swung on a miss there. So looks like she was swinging for the fences again. 0-2 count now. Coming into the state tournament, Eden Wicks with only, I think I see 1 home run to her name, and so she matches that total in the first round against the number 2 team in the state. Big moment for her. Now looking for another one here.
Yeah, and at the time, as there's 1-2 count to her now, at the time, it made it a 3-1 game. I mean, it made the game, that was a big run before all the craziness started in the latter innings. So it was not in, it was a huge, as she swings.
Another swing and miss, so now a 4th strikeout for Neely Bacon, who has retired 4 batters straight. Quick 1-2-3 inning, exactly what the doctor ordered if you're Remsen St. Mary's trying to come back here in this game. We're going to be right back with the bottom of the second on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
At Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Whether you volunteer or hang with friends, play pickleball, read or follow trends. No matter what your retirement style, you deserve healthy eyes and a healthy smile. Some Medicare plans don't cover vision or dental. With Delta Dental, you can save on what's essential. Get coverage and take care of your health. It's peace of mind, so treat yourself. It's more affordable than you might think. Give us a call or visit this link.
We're back with Class 1A State Tournament Softball here on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company. We're going into the bottom of the second. Leading things off with a 6-hitter, Sophia Harpinaugh, the sophomore right fielder. After her is going to be the pitcher, Neely Bacon, then Josie Schwickrath. Closing out the first 3 batters of this inning for Remsen St. Mary's. What do you got to say, Emery, about what we saw in the first inning and a half? There's been a little bit of back and forth, kind of a momentum shift, everything kind of going back and forth between these two teams early.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing for me is the answer from Remsen St. Mary's in the bottom of the first. Gave up a couple of runs to North Butler there in the top of the first inning. A bit of a weird situation and a fielding mistake. And then for the offense to come right back and get one on the board.
Another well-hit ball to second base, but fielded cleanly by the second baseman for North Butler, Harper Ingalls. Brought over to first. 1 pitch, 1 out for North Butler as Neely Bacon, the pitcher for Remsen, is going to step to the plate. She was 0 for 2 in yesterday's quarterfinal loss to Fort Dodge St. Edmund.
Yeah, just to finish that up, I think it's important because Remsen St. Mary's was so quiet on offense, just 2 hits in a run rule loss yesterday. To see them score 1 in the bottom of the first inning, I think was really, really important for them.
And a big cut there by Bacon to give Camry Groen the early lead. An 0-1 count against her now. Bacon, one of many players on the Remsen St. Mary's lineup who went 0 for 2 today. Josie Schwickerath and Mia Matgun were the only players who got hits in that game as that ball sails in there high to even the count at 1-1. North Butler hanging on to that 2-1 lead. They took a 2-0 lead today. They took a 2-0 lead yesterday against Clarksville, but anything goes, as we've seen so far after an eventful day yesterday. That one fouled backwards, 1-2. Camry Groen, 1 strike away now from getting 2 quick outs in this inning.
Yeah, and you just talk about, state tournament experience for both of these teams. North Butler trying to, make it more of a thing for they're right down the road from Clarksville. They want to get here much more frequently. That
ball hit again over to second base. Ingalls can't field that one cleanly. Goes right past her into right field. And so Bacon, she's going to get over to first base. She's on base for the first time in this year's state tournament. Comfortable calling that an E4?
Yeah, and, the 8th grader out there at second base, Harper Ingalls, just kind of lifted her head up on that as it was making its way. We see, the field is really – it is an even field. They do a really good job as we're going to get a courtesy runner here for the pitcher Bacon. But what you have in a dirt field, in every dirt field, is when you have all the foot traffic happening out there, there are little mounds. There might be little spots where you're going to get a little bit of a strange hop, or you're going to get something like that where it maybe didn't bounce as high as she thought it was. You just have to stay down on it and knock it down at worst. And this unfortunately went through her wickets there.
So now at the plate is Josie Schwickerath, the senior first baseman who steps in, one of only 2 players who scored a hit yesterday against a really, really talented Fort Dodge St. Edmund team. And at first now is the courtesy runner Jenna Homan. Swung on a miss there by Schwickerath, so 1-1 count to even things out. Jenna Homan, the Homan name, that's another one of those names that you see a lot of these come through Remsen St. Mary's. No matter what year it is, you're going to see a lot of the same names. You'll see a Homan, you'll see a Bunkers, you'll see a Gallus, you'll see a Harpanaugh. A lot of these repeat names. That one skied high. Is this one going to be in play? The catcher tracking it down. Can't quite get her glove on it. The catcher, Charlotte Shook, the freshman, trying to track that thing down, but it was sky high, moving around a little bit. As you mentioned earlier, Emery, it was the wind's kind of swirling here a little bit right now, so a ball like that coming from behind home plate, that's a tough one to play as we go to a 1-2 count now.
That is one of the hardest plays on the field, and I won't hear anything else. A catcher having to ditch the mask, dodge a batter and the umpire, don't step on the bat, locate a ball as their strike 3.
That one catches the outside corner for strike 3, the second out of the inning, second strikeout of the day for Camry Groen.
But just to finish that, when a ball is hit right over home plate or within 20, 25 feet of home plate, and it's just kind of in the air, that thing is moving in a pretty unpredictable fashion. It's really hard for people at any level on either baseball or softball to then locate the ball and then make a play. And catchers who can do that, I don't know how. It honestly is almost a guessing game how that ball spins on its way down.
So in steps now Kimberly Cronin out of the 9th spot for Remsen St. Mary's, a sophomore designated player. She's going to catch that one as a strike on the outside corner. 1-1 count against her. Cronin went over 2 yesterday. Had a couple of ground outs over to first base side. Cronin now trying to move some runners around, see if she can get home and across. She swings and misses at a ball low, so it's 1-2. Camry Groen, see if she can get out of this one after a fielding error over at second base, allows a runner on base, and now see if she can get out of a little bit of a tight jam here in the second inning.
Cronin hitting for the second baseman, Dylan Schrader.
This one popped high, passed, and that will drop for a hit into right center field. Rounding second is Homan. She's going to get into third, and she's going to get waved home. The throw home is not in time. Called safe. Bang, bang, play at the plate. Shook, getting the glove there just about in the same moment the Homan reached home plate. How'd you see that one, Emery? Did you think that was a clean call, calling that safe at home plate?
I mean, it's tough. I'm not an umpire, so I'm not going to see. I would have to look at it in super slow motion. But it's such a weird play. So first of all, Erica Bates in the third base coach's box was waving her really hard to third, and then wanted to throw up a late stop sign on her as the ball was coming into the infield, because it was cut off by Ingles out there. By the time she was at third base, the ball was already back under the infield. But it took a second. She just kept on going because she was getting waved until the very last moment.
Yeah, she kind of did a little stutter step there, but at that point it almost was like,
and she's
it was
an eighth grader,
late.
right? Like, to get home, and she's like, I can't stop now, so she kept going. And then she had to jump over the bat, which was laying there in the third base line.
And this one now lifted into left field and not quite caught. Chloe Homan sends it into left field. Are we going to see another runner get waved in? Cronin waved home, and she will score 2 now as Remsen St. Mary's takes the lead. Chloe Homan drove that ball into left field on the first pitch she saw. I think we'll call that one a base hit. Would have been a really tough play for the left fielder to get a glove on that one, so I think that's going to be an extra base hit. And as we have with extra base hits here at the state tournament, they are sponsored by Channel Seeds. Extra base hits brought to you by Channel Seeds. The enhanced Channel Seed brand is here to help farmers like you up your game and rise to the challenge. As this one goes through, and another base hit for Remsen St. Mary's, and another runner is going to get waved home. This one, too, the throw not in time. And Youngers is going to end up on second base. I've got to get caught up with my book here for a second. Boy, Emery, can you catch us up here while I try to finish things up on my end?
Yeah, so you had the Channel Seats double before that you were reading about, and then a first pitch, Youngers with a single right up the middle to score Homan from second, and you're seeing now as Austin Guerrero will come and talk to his pitcher in his infield, but 3 runs across. None of these will be earned, by the way. Mm-hmm. You can go back all the way to the Neely Bacon at bat, the second batter of the inning with the ground ball that got through the second baseman, Harper Ingles. And then the last 3 hits, Cronin's hit, it was a nice single, well hit into right center field. Then Homan, a double down the line, and then Jungers right on the screws right back up the middle. These are not cheapies. So they are seeing grown here for second time through.
I was going to say, how many pitches have they even seen? I feel like the last couple, I think, were first pitch.
Homan and Jungers were first pitch swings. And that's confidence, right? Yep. I know what I'm looking for when I'm coming up here.
It's so clutch to find that confidence, too, especially when you've fallen behind 2-0 early. You just got shut out in a shortened game yesterday, 8-0. To find that confidence, come back and now take a 4-2 lead in this game says a lot about this team that's coached by Erica Bates in just her second year at Remsen St. Mary's High School. The program there set up well by Monty Harpenaugh, who did well bringing this team to state a few times, and now she takes things over as we see an early 2-0 count to Hallie Bunkers, who's in the 3 spot. Last time up, she flew out to right field, had the sacrifice fly that scored Chloe Homan from third base to get the first run on the board for Remsen St. Mary's, and seeing if she can get another one into the outfield and tack on one more for the Hawks. This pitch in there, that one's fouled off behind the dugout on the first base side. So it's a 2-1 count now to Hallie Bunkers.
And it's just one of those things situationally, too. Get a second life, take advantage of it. Both teams now have made defensive mistakes that have led to runs, and it's all about just continuing to swing the bats up there.
A ball that just about would have caught the strike zone, but that one must have been just a bit low and inside. So we have a 3-1 count now to Hallie Bunkers, trying to keep this thing going. We got 2 outs early in this one with a ground out and a strikeout. We should have had 3 outs right away if it weren't for the error at second base, but here we go, and the inning keeps going. A fly ball into shallow center field, a little miscommunication, but just a snow cone catch there by the 8th grader, the second baseman, Harper Ingles, maybe making up for the fielding error she made earlier. Just able to get her glove on that one and finally brings that inning to an end, but not before 3 runs cross home plate for Remsen St. Mary's. We're going to be right back to set up the 3rd. You're watching the Iowa Girls State Softball Tournament on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Freedom Tire is proud to support the Iowa Girl through their sponsorship of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. With 6 locations around the metro, you're never far from getting you back or keeping you on the road. Our certified staff and state-of-the-art technology means you can take comfort knowing you've got the best work at the best prices. Give us a try at Freedom Tire, a proud supporter of the IGHSAU.
We're just getting the third inning started here at the Class 1A state tournament. Second round game, elimination game for North Butler and Remsen St. Mary's. Starting things off here for North Butler Bearcats in the third. We're going back to the top of the order. So Zoe Thompson, the sophomore shortstop for the Bearcats, who's stepping in. She takes an early 1-0 lead in the count. Sees this one, fouls it straight back into the netting to even things off at 1-1. Zoe Thompson, Emery, she was one of those players that really impressed us. Had so many big plays both yesterday, both at the plate and in the field. She was just everywhere for North Butler.
Yeah, and there were a couple of plays that she would like to have back late in that game as well at shortstop, but then got her bat going after that and hit a couple of doubles in her last 2 at-bats of that 15-inning marathon, and then started off with a well-hit single right off the bat here, and then stole a base and scored a run to get North Butler going here. So this is definitely, you want to talk about straws that stir drinks. Zoe Thompson is certainly one of those for North Butler.
There was so much asked of her. She hits one to the shortstop. Fielded cleanly thrown over and safe. Speedy run there by Zoe Thompson, getting over to the first base bag in time. Even boy, that was just her speed and nothing else. Can't put it as an error. It has to be an infield single. Chloe Holman, the shortstop, fielded it cleanly. Maybe if the throw was a little faster, could have gotten her in time, but ruled save first. I don't know if there's much she can do.
Nah, I mean, it's just where you're playing, right? I mean, all you could ask her to do maybe is to charge that and throw it on the run, but even then it's going to be a bang-bang play, and there's a lot that can go wrong when you're telling a girl to do that because the ball was hit well. So there's just nothing to do. That's speed, man. That's what speed does in this game. And with 60 feet in between these bases, it really does put a number on you when you have a runner that good that can get out of the box that fast.
Not a lot of steals this year for Zoe Thompson. Only 11 coming into the state tournament, but she did have one in her last at-bat when she got on base with a single in the first. 2 for 2 so far for Zoe Thompson today. In yesterday's loss to Clarksville, Thompson was 3 for 7, so she's had a real nice run here at the state tournament so far. Now at the plate is Charlotte Shook, the freshman catcher. She swings and drives one back over to the shortstop spot. Throws over this time. The throw is in time. So Remsen St. Mary's able to retire the first out of the inning. Thompson advances over to second base, and a 6-3 put out for the Hawks. Emery, great momentum shift in this game if you're a Remsen St. Mary's fan. Falling behind 2-0. Can't say enough about how they've responded in this game after getting blanked yesterday 8-0, what they've been able to do as we see Camry Grown step to the plate now.
Yeah, and with Grown coming in, that out was so big as she shows bunt, and they'll just try to force a throw. It was a low throw there by the catcher Gallus, but a good job by the shortstop Holman covering third, digging that out, not letting that get into left field. But that's a huge out. You don't want the first 2 to get on here after you just put a 3 spot up offensively, and then all of a sudden have the power bats come up here for North Butler with a chance to really just get those 3 runs back. So good job there by Holman.
Grown watches that one go by, so we've got a 2-0 count against one of the best bats at this year's state softball tournament.
And first base open. So it would not shock me if you're going to be a little careful now with first base open and maybe roll the dice a little bit after this. But at the same time, you want to challenge her. You want to try to get an out if you can get one from you. She grounded to third and reached on an error first time.
This one in play, and it will drop into right field. Nice stop by the right fielder, but we're going to send the runner home, and Zoe Thompson used those wheels once again, and she will score for the second time in this game. Thompson twice today has reached base on a single, and now Thompson twice has scored a run for North Butler. Camry Grown, she had 3 hits yesterday, finished 3 for 6, and able to get on base now with a single as she drives in a run to cut the lead back to 1. Back and forth we go. Still a 4-3 lead now for Remsen St. Mary's, as next up is Harper Ingalls.
We got a courtesy runner, Zoe Parno, in, and as always, our substitutions brought to you by IMT Insurance. If you want to learn how you can be worry-free with IMT, visit imtins.com. This was exactly what I was talking about. You want to be careful with a bat that good with Grown, and then to give her a strike that she was able to drive into right field and drive in a run.
Harper Ingalls lays the bunt down. It's a good one, but we do have it fielded cleanly by the third baseman for Remsen St. Mary's. Hallie Bunker is a junior. She was able to come in and played it well. That's exactly what you want to see out of your third baseman. A little speed to come there. Clean bump there by Ingles, but fielded properly and just does a job. Pushes over Parno to second base, puts her in scoring position as Mackenzie Schultz, the sophomore center fielder, steps to the plate, trying to tie this game back up again.
Yeah, and if you just give up the one run, that'll work. You'll take that if you're Remsen St. Mary's, but you have to keep with it here because Schultz had an RBI single her first time up in the first inning.
Yeah, and especially the way that Remsen started hitting the ball. Boy, I didn't expect that kind of offensive attack from Remsen St. Mary's to start this game off. 4 runs in the first 2 innings after we saw them get shut out with only 2 hits last night. Their offense has responded well. That ball zips in high, so it's a 2-0 count now to Mackenzie Schultz. In yesterday's first-round game, just went 1 for 7. She had 2 RBI in that game. She's trying to reach base now, and if she just any ball with how aggressive these coaches have been at third base. Seems like about any ball that reaches the outfield, they're going to be waving them home. This pitch in there, going to go over to second base, fielded cleanly, throw to first is in time for out number 3. So we finish the top of the third inning. North Butler gets one back, but Remsen St. Mary's, they hang on to their 4-3 lead, and we're going to be back with the bottom of the third, see if Remsen St. Mary's can keep their offense going. This is on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
At Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Something exciting is growing on Iowa farms these days. Innovation. From tractors that seed, weed, and harvest with data-driven precision to drones that scout or plant cover crops to protect soil and water. Even our animals live in smart homes with round-the-clock care. Technology keeps your food safer, water cleaner, and makes us more sustainable. Because what we do here benefits everyone here. Life on the farm makes everyone's life better.
We're back with the bottom of the third inning here at the state tournament, Class 1A softball elimination game. Do or die at this point. Loser goes home. The winner gets to stay alive for at least one more game. Here in the bottom of the third inning, Remsen St. Mary's starting things off with their senior catcher, Grace Gallus. You love seeing a senior behind the plate. That's exactly the kind of leadership, kind of knowledge that you want out of somebody who's in such an important position. Communication, intelligence, more important behind the plate maybe than any other position on the field.
Yeah, for sure, and it helps when they can swing the bat. She's batting in the cleanup spot for this offense for Remsen St. Mary's.
2-0 count quickly to Grace Gallus. She, last time up, had a walk. Yesterday when they were playing Fort Dodge St. Edmund, Grace Gallus 0 for 2, as were many members of the Hawks lineup. That one swung on and missed. A big cut by Grace Gallus, who came into this year's state tournament hitting at about a .225 clip. Just 1 run scored this year. Obviously, as a catcher, she's seen a lot of courtesy runners for. 18 hits this season, trying to start things off again for the Hawks. That one high and inside, ball 3. Camry Grown, she got taken out of that game yesterday, and what was it? Were we in about the 10th inning when she got removed from the game, Camry Grown?
Yeah, so she pitched 9 1/3, so it was in the 10th that she was lifted, and we still played to the 15th. So, and her counterpart, who, Sydney Lovren, Clarksville wins the game, but she had to pitch 15 full innings, so it'll be interesting to see well over 200 pitches, so we'll see how she's throwing later on tonight.
Full count against Gallus now. I just was thinking about how much of a toll that takes on a pitcher, and this one rung up. Gallus watches that one go by. Backwards K for Camry Grown to start this inning off. Her 3rd strikeout of the game. She's had 1 in each inning so far. That's the way she wants to start this thing. But with going back to Camry Grown, I just wondered about saving that energy. The fact that so many teams come to the state tournament and don't have 2 quality pitchers that they can put out there. But North Butler did have that. They put Emerson out there for the final, 4 or 5 innings?
Yeah, Emerson Miller, who really didn't get a whole lot of action during the season, got 5 strong innings before Clarksville finally walked him off.
Mia Matgun drives this one into empty space in deep left center field. That one's going to roll all the way to the fence. Matgun going into second base, and that's where she will stop. Mia Matgun delivers with a base hit to get a runner in scoring position. Extra base hits here at the state tournament are brought to you by Channel Seeds. The enhanced Channel Seed brand is here to help farmers like you up your game and rise to the challenge. Learn more at channel.com/rise. Glad I could get that full ad read in this time. Last time I think I got cut off by a quick base hit by Remsen St. Mary's. So we have Mia Matgun at second base now. She, too, one of the 2 players who had a base hit in yesterday's game, so she's 2 for 4 this year's state tournament so far. And now it's the freshman, sophomore Sophia Harpinaugh stepping into the plate, seeing if she can keep the offense going after getting blanked in yesterday's game. 8-0. We've seen 4 runs scored, 1 in the first, 3 in the second, and Remsen now trying to add more. This ball just popped up, flared right to first base, and Eden Wicks there for the quick out, no problem. And now we've got 2 outs on the board. Runner on second base as Neely Bacon, the pitcher who's been so strong today. She's going to step into the plate and try to find a way to extend that lead for Remsen St. Mary's.
Yeah, last time she reached on what was just seemingly a routine ground ball to second, but it got through the wickets of Harper Ingalls, and it kickstarted what was a 3-run inning for Remsen St. Mary's.
This one swung high, and will the catcher have a chance at this one? Yes, she does. Fielded cleanly and caught on the first pitch by Charlotte Shook. 1, 2, 3, pretty quickly with a double sprinkled in there as well, and that will finish the 3rd inning. You're watching the Girls Union Network powered by Mid-American Energy Company. We'll be right back with the 4th.
Yeah, it's a trip when you hit the road. And when you know when you've arrived. It's a trip when you get everything you want. The burger and the fries, the creek and the crick, the city and the countryside. It's a trip when you're where you're meant to be. In this moment, in this bathroom mirror, looking like $1 million. And yeah, it's a trip when it goes by fast. Des Moines. It's a trip. Make it yours.
Excelling in athletics takes teamwork, dedication, and a commitment to excellence. These are the same qualities that help our pig farmers and our communities thrive. The Iowa Pork Producers Association is proud to support statewide high school athletics and the student athletes who make us all proud. Visit iowapork.org/WeCare to meet the people behind the pork and hear about our winning approach to caring for our pigs, the environment, and our communities.
3 innings in the book at this double elimination tournament, and this is an elimination game between North Butler and Remsen St. Mary's. Remsen coming into the 4th inning now with a 4-3 lead. Neely Bacon in the circle trying to maintain that lead. At the plate we have Kylie Grohm, freshman 3rd baseman, who was outstanding in the field yesterday against Clarksville. Kylie Grohm trying to start things off. North Butler has found 3 runs so far, 2 in the first, 1 in the third, and now trying to get things going and seeing if they can match this one up again. They've played nothing but close, exciting games so far, and might be another one cooking in the books right now with a 1-run game. And it's a quick 1-1 count against Kylie Grohm, who we were just gushing about yesterday after the amount of impressive plays she made at third base.
Yeah, it's such an important position in softball, especially with all the bunting and all the base running, and then how quickly the ball gets on top of you when you're playing that close that the third baseman typically plays in softball so you can make throw across the diamond. She was absolutely fantastic defensively throughout, and we talk about it. Defense can be the difference between winning and losing close ball games.
And she was 2 for 6 at the plate yesterday, struck out in her first at-bat in the first inning. This one swung over to second base, and it gets through the second baseman. Kylie Grohm, we see another error over there at second base, almost a carbon copy of the error that we saw by the North Butler second baseman earlier in this game. Anything to this? Am I reading too much into it, or is this just a situation where, sometimes the pressure gets to a player over at second?
I think we're going to get a pinch runner here for Kylie, and we'll get the ID on that quick.
26.
Because, that's they don't show us the number.
That's going to be Presley Ketcher.
So, anyway, on top of that, I told you in the Ingalls one, it looks routine to us. But there are minor imperfections as the ball is bouncing that can create this kind of strangeness as the ball is kind of bouncing, maybe a little bit uneven out to second, especially when it's hit with some pace. You have to just stay down on the ball and just understand you're not going to be able to pick it clean necessarily. You have to understand that the right thing to do is to just knock it down, pick it up, and then have a chance to throw out the runner at first base. But both second basemen, Schrader here and then Ingles a couple of innings ago, kind of lift their head. They kind of try to play it for a hop instead of just staying down on it, and that's resulted in a couple of errors.
Briley Hinsey at the plate now. She's been showing bump, but swings away at this one, and this one goes deep into the right center field gap, but it's caught by the center fielder, and Presley Ketcher did not realize that ball was going to be caught. She was all the way over to third base, I don't think she caught that ball was going to get caught. She was sure that was going to drop. Didn't even give it a second glance. She arrived at third base, and her coach, Austin Guerrero, had to tell her, sorry, but you just got doubled off at first base. And so a clean double play, an 8-3 double play by Remsen St. Mary's, finishes that one off. Presley Ketcher, who is an 8th grader, as she gets older, maybe the awareness is going to grow a little bit, but that one you got to be a little bit more aware. This ball hit by Grace Pittenger over to second base, fielded cleanly and flipped over to the first. We're going to recap a little bit of what we just saw. An eventful final 2 pitches of that inning, but Remsen St. Mary's gets out of it cleanly, and that finishes the first half of this game. We're through 3.5. Remsen St. Mary's holding a 4-3 lead. We'll be back on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
At Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Looks like another perfect day to get out there and enjoy the summer.
Before she gets in the car, it's easy to choose.
Iowa State Fair, August 13th through the 23rd.
To the bottom of the fourth we go in this elimination game between North Butler and Remsen St. Mary's at the Class 1A state tournament. Josie Schwickrath for Remsen St. Mary's starting things off, and she sees a ball. Looks like that one landed in there low in the first pitch of this bottom of the fourth inning. Kind of an eventful couple at bats there for North Butler to end the last inning. Just to kind of recap what we just saw, as Schwickrath sees a strike go by, 1-1 count now.
Yeah, John Nonson in his delayed, he's telling the players strike and then signaling it. So we have to wait to see that it's a strike before we jump to conclusions here.
About a 3-second delay. I think that one might have been a ball. Don't need to wait for the call from Nonson on that one. But yeah, there's about a 3-second delay between the time that the ball hits the glove and when we see the fist go up there for the strike.
Yeah, but the players on the field, they can hear, and then the fans around can hear the strike call. We just are too far away, and we have our windows closed. So, we don't get the benefit of the verbal call.
This pitch goes in there. This one swung on and popped up down the first base line, and the first baseman is there. Eden Wicks gloves it for the first out of the inning. A quick first out for North Butler, and now we've got one down as we go to the final batter in the order, Kimberly Cronin, sophomore designated player. I wanted to recap again a little bit of what we saw in the last inning as we had the 8th grade pinch runner, Presley Ketcher, on first base. And I think that she just saw Briley Hinsey get a hold of a ball as that one comes in there for a ball on the inside. Briley Hinsey just had a deep drive into the right center field gap. Honestly, it did look good to me off the bat. I can't fault Presley Ketcher too much. It was a well-hit ball, but the center fielder for Remsen, Mia Matgun, just came over and made a nice catch. This one driven up, but unplayable. It's going to go into the netting here on the first base side. Well, the catcher just didn't even bother looking at the coach or looking behind her. She just assumed that ball was going to hit, and she just was rounding all the way like she was going to score.
Or maybe just kind of lost track of the outs. And
that could be. Could be.
There was nobody out. The coaches are probably telling her what the outs are, but in that moment, you just hear the metal. You see a hard hit ball, and the play was in front of her, but her eyes were on her coach at third base. So she really didn't even follow where the ball was. Those are lessons you learn as a young player. Yep. These are the things that you pick up as we go along, because this is an imperfect game that we're trying to expect everybody to play perfectly. So it's something she'll learn from next time she's out there.
That's going to be a 3-1 count now against Kimberly Cronin, who singled and had an RBI in her first time up. She then scored one of the runs there in that big second inning for Remsen St. Mary's that allowed them to take the 4-2 lead then, what now remains is a 4-3 lead. Yeah, these are the things you learn, especially with so many young players. We've seen on a lot of rosters. Remsen is almost an outlier as we see that ball go in there for a strike. I hope for the folks watching at home that you're kind of along with us, kind of waiting for these delayed strike calls. But now that the count does run full to 3-2. Payoff pitch now from Groen. Cronin swings that one, goes back into the netting, and we're going to do it again.
I think that one was so late because Kimberly was in the process of tossing her bat to the dugout and then had a hold up, and I think John Nancy just wanted to make sure she also knew that, hey, that was a strike before we got to see the actual the call being made.
So another payoff pitch coming from Groen into Kimberly Cronin. This one is swung on and fouled backwards. Cronin battling tough there in the bottom of the lineup. One thing I was going to just say about Remsen was that they're almost the outlier in this tournament in that they have so many upperclassmen, so many seniors on the roster. I think, what is it, five senior starters in there, or at least regular players who are seniors. And that's kind of the inverse of so many teams we've covered so far where there's maybe just 1-2 seniors in the lineup or 1-2 significant senior players. This one swung on, and it's going to be fielded by the pitcher to throw to first base. It's going to be in time. Great play there by Cameron Groen to hustle over to that one. She gets over to first base for out number 2 to finish the order, and we're going to run back to the top of the order with Chloe Holman, the freshman for Remsen St. Mary's. Freshman shortstop coming to the plate. She's reached base twice so far and scored a couple of runs, reached on a walk and then on an RBI double. See if she can reach base for the third time in this game. But senior experience certainly paying off for a team like Remsen St. Mary's. This one in there for a ball.
Yeah, and one of the things that we talked about in the pregame was Chloe Holman needing to set the table. She's got 2 of the 4 runs scored by Remsen St. Mary's so far, and it all starts with her just getting on base because she can score runs. She's a great base runner, but she also can hit the ball, and we saw that with her double last time up.
This one also goes high, so it's 2-0. Kind of an interesting lineup card so far where you have Chloe Holman scoring 2 of the runs, and then the other 2 have scored by girls in the bottom 3 part of the order with the courtesy runner Jenna Holman and Kimberly Cronin scored the other 2 runs for Remsen St. Mary's today. 2-0 pitch, swung on and driven into right field. This one is going to land for a base hit. It's going to be extra bases again for Chloe Holman. She's going to round third base. Coming into third, there's Holman. A stand-up triple. She's 2/3 of the way to a cycle at this point. She's got a double, a triple. She's got a walk, just a couple more bats. We'll see what she can do. Chloe Holman, another clutch play for her. Man, with 2 outs now, Remsen St. Mary's gets another runner in scoring position with Lana Youngers coming to the plate.
First triple of the season.
Wow.
For her, by the way. And she only had 4 doubles. She is a singles hitter for the most part. And she is just a run-producing threat for the bats behind her. But we've seen that she has the ability. She went down the line last time up for the double. She goes into the gap here for the triple. Excellent work for her at the plate. And how about that for a pick-to-click for Remsen St. Mary's pregame?
That's the one. That's why I rely on you so much, Emery Songer. You know what you're talking about with these players. So 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored and an RBI, extra base hit now.
She could score a 3rd run. She's standing just 60 feet away here with 2 outs, and Jungers at the plate, who hasn't been retired yet either.
You do know what you're talking about some of this time, don't you, Emery? And Remsen St. Mary's, they've done well with two outs against them in that big second inning where they ended up scoring 3 runs. Those all were scored after they had 2 outs against them already. So a team that keeps their head in the game. Lana Youngers, the senior here, coming up with 2 outs. The 2-1 count now. Runner on third base. Trying to pad the lead just a little bit. North Butler, they're a team that can score in bunches, and so this is an important at-bat for both sides. That one in for a strike, so the count goes to 2-2. Cameron Groen would love to get out of this inning unscathed, try to limit the damage as much as she can. 1 strike away from finishing it off with strikeout. 2-2 pitch. In there, high, wild. The runner will not come in. Good awareness there by Chloe Holman. Not automatically coming in when she sees the pitch going wild. The ball just, one of those situations. Softball is such an interesting sport in that way that you just never know what's going to happen with the ball back there. Is it going to get stuck in the rubber, bounce right back to the catcher? That time it just ricocheted right back to where the catcher would have been.
Well, the backstop is so close.
Yeah.
So when it hit on the fly, the backstop, because it was so high over the catcher and the umpire, she would never have been safe if she tried to score there.
Payoff pitch again. This one swung on and missed. Clutch pitch for Cameron Groen to get the strikeout. She's had 1 strikeout in each inning so far, her 4th of the game. Able to keep a clean sheet, so the lead remains 4-3 in Remsen St. Mary's as we head to the 5th inning. You're watching the State Softball Tournament on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Excuse me, man. You dropped this.
We carry on in this elimination game in Class 1A, and we're going to start with the bottom of the order, Eden Wicks, the sophomore first baseman for North Butler, and as we go into the top of the 5th inning, Eden Wicks on the season, coming into the state tournament, not a huge hitter coming out of that 9 spot, as we see her hit another deep ball. As I just am about to say, she's not a strong hitter. Here she goes, trying to go to second. Got a little bit too greedy, but she takes advantage of an overthrow over to first base. She's going for third base now. She gets in there. She steps off the bag, and she's tagged out at third base. An incredible series of events there on that play by North Butler. Eden Wicks, she's going to get credit with a base hit. She'll have that single that went all the way to the fence just about in right center field. Great base hit. And Emery, walk us through what we saw after that, because it was a lot.
So I think she unintentionally took too wide of a turn, but it ended up being, I think, a good base running play in softball, because when they throw behind you, you're only 60 feet away. If you're in between the base pads, you can get to second, and she was going to be safe at second after they threw behind her at first. But the throw was wide, so it goes all the way back to the dugout. She has a chance to get to third.
And she does.
But she doesn't slide, so she overruns the bag, and then the tag applied by Hallie Bunkers, and that gets the out after a crazy... that was into the screen here from Zoe Thompson. But, you're not going to see a single batter put the ball in play and have a more adventurous trip than that.
Can you walk me through the sequence of that out? I know we had an 8-4-3-5. Is that what that would have been?
Something like that. I don't know. There will also be an error on the second baseman to get her to second.
Because she would have been toast at first base because she got caught between first and second.
But she did a good job just holding her line there and waiting for them to throw it behind her so she could take second. But because the throw was wide, it ended up making her think she could get to third, and then she ended up getting cut down there when she overran the bag.
Ball outside, so the count goes to 2-2 against Zoe Thompson, who's trying to reach base with her third base hit of the game. She's 2 for 2 so far today with 2 runs scored. Got a stolen base. Zoe Thompson, one of the best players on this North Butler lineup, just a sophomore. She's got a couple more years in front of her. North Butler, so many young players on this team. You got to think we'll have a future here playing at state tournament. This pitch in there wide and outside. 3-2 count, goes full against Zoe Thompson, somebody who they probably don't want to give too many hittable balls to. Neely Bacon trying to avoid any sort of danger, letting her get on the base paths again. So the payoff pitch coming here, 3-2 count. That pitch is outside and low, so Thompson gets on base for the third time today. She's in with a walk. As Charlotte Shook, the freshman catcher, is about to step to the plate.
That's just the first walk issued by Bacon, and she just lost her there. She got ahead in the count, just couldn't quite find the out pitch, and good discipline at the plate by Thompson to get on. And when she's gotten on base, she has scored both times. She is a good base runner. We know that about her.
Showing bunt here. Pulls back, but she did offer, so that is in there for a strike to fall behind 0-1 with Zoe Thompson on first base. We know that she has speed. Had a stolen base in the first inning. She's a threat to steal every time she's at the plate. And we've seen Austin Guerrero be an aggressive coach on that third base side. And so you got to imagine that he might call for a steal here as he's still trying to make up some real estate. That ball high and outside for a ball.
They're only down by a run. So getting her into second base here with 1 out would be imperative. But you also don't want to run yourself into an out with Camry Grown in the on-deck circle. You would like to have her bat with a runner on base.
This pitch goes across the plate, and now she does take off for second base. This throw just about in time, but the ball is not caught, so Zoe Thompson is going to be credited with another stolen base. Good throw and pretty good placement, actually. don't know if she would have been out. Don't think they would have gotten her either way, but pretty close.
This is the thing about where they're playing defensively on Shook here. That was such a long run for Homan at shortstop, and they've obviously told her she's got to cover second on a steal, so she was just still in the process of sprinting from the hole to get to second base, and even with a good throw, I'm not sure they're going to be able to get her because of how long she has to run and then to apply the tag.
Charlotte Shook at the plate now, the freshman, with a 2-2 count against her. Shook coming into this game, batting .385 on the season. No home runs for her. Not a team that has a lot of home runs outside of Camry Grown, who had 10 coming into the state tournament. Trying to do a little damage here, trying to drive in the game-tying run. This ball low and just rolls across the plate, so the count's going to go now to 2-2. As we still see Zoe Thompson at second base. Zoe Thompson, a team that doesn't have a lot of big-time power hitters outside of Grown, and a team that honestly doesn't even steal that much. Zoe Thompson came into state with 11 steals. That was tied for the team lead, but she's got 2 today so far. This one swung on and missed. A strikeout for Neely Bacon. That's her 5th of the game. Boy, great bounce-back game for Neely Bacon in the circle. As good as she's been all year, it was a tough one for her yesterday, taking 8 hits and having a game shortened, or a Mercy Rule shortened game against Fort Dodge St. Edmund. Being able to come back and have 5 strikeouts net today, taking that lead into the 5th inning. So we have 2 outs now. In steps Camry Grown. Talked about her all game with an empty base at first. Do you give her anything here? We're going to see maybe 4 straight balls. What do you think we see out of Camry Grown?
I just can't imagine, especially we had this same conversation a couple of innings ago, and then they challenged her and she hit an RBI single. With a 1-run game, I'm making somebody else beat me.
This one swung on. Grown lifts it into right field. That's going to go out of play, foul ball, so it's going to be a 1-1 count. That one looked like it was deep enough to possibly even go over the fence if that had been fair. Maybe not quite, but it would have been close to at least an extra base hit.
But that's the thing. It changes my perspective if you get some strikes on her in a count, because it's a 1-1 count now. You still don't want to give her anything good to hit, but if she wants to offer it stuff, go for it.
That one just kind of lobbed in there.
You want to be really careful, but at the same time, you're not just going to put her on base if she's going to be willing to expand her strike zone because she wants to try to drive a run in here. Yeah, you have
Camry Grown in the 3 spot of the order, who's 1 for 2 technically today because her first one was reaching on an error, but she's been on base both times. This ball goes in the dirt. It's wild, goes up, and Zoe Thompson out over at third base. Thompson gets just 1 step closer now to tying this game. He's tying this game back up at 4. Camry Grown to the plate now with a 3-1 count. After her in the order would be Harper Ingalls, who's 0 for 1 today. She had a sacrifice bunt and a strikeout out of that, but Camry Grown, a tough one to get through now. 3-1 pitch is in there for a strike, so the count goes full.
Yeah, she was definitely not looking for kind of that backdoor fastball that just kind of worked its way back across the outside corner, and now a big payoff pitch here with 2 outs.
Here comes full count. Payoff line down the first base side, but goes foul again, so we're going to rerun it, re-rack it. 3-2 count to Camry Grown. Doing what you can in a pressure situation to try to tie this game up again, because we don't know if depending on what happens here, she might not even get another chance at the bat if she gets out here. So she's going to want to take advantage of this last opportunity because we are in a do-or-die situation here in this double elimination bracket. That one outside. Camry Grown will reach base on the walk. That one thrown outside, so we're going to have 2 runners aboard, runners on first and third base as the 8th grader, Harper Ingalls, steps to the plate.
And, you want to get her out because you had her on a 2-strike count. Totally get it. At the same time, you don't want to throw one right down the middle and throw a strike.
Anywhere near the strike zone.
With the tying run at third base. So now it's up to the 8th grader Ingalls to get the job done.
Ingalls swings at the first pitch she sees, fouls it back into the rubber. Harper Ingalls, the 8th grader, hitting in the cleanup spot, but 0 for 7 in yesterday's game against Clarksville. 0 for 1 so far today. Had 1 sacrifice bunt that was effective in moving a runner around. Had a strikeout in the first inning. Harper Ingalls looking for her first hit of this game, which would tie us at 4. The 0-1 count. Ingalls sees that one go low. Camry Grown goes over to second base. Uncontested. She's going to be in with another stolen base. Yeah. And now we have 2 runners on in scoring position.
It's interesting. She's running for herself instead of the courtesy runner here. It kind of tells you, you just want some experience out there. But a base hit now could give North Butler the lead here in the 5th inning.
Ingalls sees that one go low. The pitch is wild. It goes to the backstop. Thompson slides in, and she's safe. And now another run is going to come in. But she is she
lost
was
the
tagged out,
ball.
but the ball comes loose. Thompson tied the game, and then Groen, as you just mentioned, the heads-up upperclassman coming in, now gives North Butler the lead. A lot happening on just that one play. A wild pitch that went to the backstop. Zoe Thompson came home, scored easily, but then the throw over. What did Groen see out there that made her so confident that she could score on that play too?
Well, we talk about aggressive nature. I think that's Austin Guerrero and the aggressive nature. And then, Neely, I'd be interested to see if she has any ill effects of the contact and the collision there as she was trying to cover home there as the ball was just kind of, getting loose. But we'll see what is able. She looks like she's okay. She's digging, some dirt and just kind of get reset. Head coach Erica Bates just going to make sure that, things are good to go. And they're going to let her throw a couple of warm-up pitches after she had the contact there. You don't see a lot of contact with players at the plate anymore. We've put rules in place for that. But I really think that Camry Groen, that's just Austin Guerrero and the culture he's built is,
he's
hey,
aggressive.
The ball squirted away, go get her.
Yeah.
Go get the – and she was out. She was dead to rights, but the ball just wasn't secured. And then I think the contact also, and they both kind of came up a little shaky. It looks like Groen was okay, but those are your two pitchers in a collision at home plate. You're rarely going to see anything like that. And for Groen to be able to score that run now gives her the lead when she goes back out there in the circle in the bottom half of this inning.
So with one single pitch, we go from North Butler down one to North Butler up one, and Harper Ingalls fouls that one to the side. Harper Ingalls now with a 2-2 count. She tries to find her first base hit of this state tournament.
And this is the tough part about this, right? Because Thompson reached on a walk, Groen reached on a walk. You had 2 outs in the inning, and they both score without a hit. That's a really tough one. You have to go out there. You talk to your pitcher not just about her health after she had the collision there, but you also have to, talk to her. It's like, hey, just relax. It's still just a 1-run game because in her brain she's just like a wild pitch cost me 2 runs there.
2-2 count now to Harper Ingalls, who's had an eventful at bat without having to hardly swing the bat. This one goes in there and on the outside for a ball, so the count's going to run full. Harper Ingalls trying to extend this inning even more. They know that every at-bat and every run is going to be important in this one as they've even taken the lead, but you just never know what's going to happen in the next couple innings with Remsen St. Mary's, who's batted so effectively today. 4 runs scored in those first 2 innings. Ingalls swings at this one, gets over to the shortstop, and it goes through her legs. Harper Ingalls is going to reach first base for the first time, and she rounds, goes ahead and goes to second, and she's going to be safe there. Harper Ingalls. One swing and an error by the shortstop is going to allow her to reach second base. There we see the aggressive coaching again on the part of 4th-year coach Austin Guerrero. Just tells his player, hey, you're fast, go ahead and try for second, and she does it.
Yeah, and again, that's a tough play for the shortstop Homan, but the fact that she had gotten there in front of it and it goes between the legs is going to put an E6 in the book. But you give me an opportunity, I'm taking an extra base. That is what this team is thinking about all the time, and it really puts a lot of pressure. Just fouled out a play on the right side. That puts a pressure on every single player on the diamond, and they have manufactured the runs that we have seen in this game too, in this inning specifically, just putting pressure. And who knows what this inning would look like if Eden Wicks doesn't get thrown out at third base after all the chaos that happened there. So that's 3 errors in the inning there for Remsen St. Mary's.
Boy, so now we've got a swing by Mackenzie Schultz over to third base. That ball fielded cleanly and thrown cleanly over to first base, so it's going to be a 5-3 put out to end an eventful top of the 5th inning. The third out is going to send us to the bottom of the 5th now with North Butler leading 5-4. We're going to be right back on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Life's buzzing with energy, from the delightfully routine to the novel and exciting to the truly uncharted. With all that life brings, it's easy to lose track of what powers all those moments, our health. At Mercy One, our caring doctors focus on just that, powering health, from the everyday to the extraordinary. So you're ready for what life brings next. Find care at mercyone.org/healthpowerslife.
Something exciting is growing on Iowa farms these days. Innovation. From tractors that seed, weed, and harvest with data-driven precision to drones that scout or plant cover crops to protect soil and water. Even our animals live in smart homes with round-the-clock care. Technology keeps your food safer, water cleaner, and makes us more sustainable. Because what we do here benefits everyone here. Life on the farm makes everyone's life better.
We're coming back into the bottom of the 5th inning. And we have a pitching change for North Butler. A little bit surprising. Emerson Miller, and you said it, Emery Songer and Owen Sebring here on the broadcast for this 1A elimination game. Do you think that goes back to maybe an injury after that collision at home plate?
Well, okay, so they have her running the bases for herself, which, by the way, is not completely usual. She doesn't always run the bases for herself. In fact, we've never seen her run the bases in 2 games. They have had a courtesy runner for her because while she was pitching. She's only running the bases when she's out there in the field. But she rounds third and is coming home, collides with the other opposing pitcher, Neely Bacon, kind of came up holding the back of her right leg. And I didn't know if she was just walking it off, if she felt like, I just got to walk this off. But whatever it was, it seems to be, and you don't want to speculate because it could be anything else, but she's not out there in the circle. So Emerson Miller is going to get the pitch now.
And at the plate we have Hallie Bunkers quickly with an 0-2 count. Emerson Miller she's young. She's only an 8th grader, but she was outstanding yesterday in a relief effort where she had to go probably longer than she ever has at any point in the season.
5 innings, in extra innings, in a state tournament game. How important is that experience now that she's going to come in here with a 1-run lead and try to help get her team finally across the finish line over the next 9 outs of defensive ball?
I was just trying to look around the field just to make sure that Cameron Grown didn't get moved, because yesterday when she came out of the game,
she went to the outfield.
She was overplaying left the rest of the game, but I don't believe I see her out there, so she might be pulled out of this one, and we'll see if we see her again in any situation, but I'm sure that their coach, Austin Guerrero, doesn't want to take any chances. The 2-2 pitch in there, high and outside for a 3-2 count. So Emerson Miller comes in and runs a full count. And the first batter she sees, Hallie Bunkers, the junior third baseman for Remsen St. Mary's. 0 for 1 today. She had the sacrifice fly and the fly out to right field. This one swung on and fouled back into the netting again. And she popped up to the second baseman in the 2nd inning. So this is her first time at the plate since then.
Yeah, I mean, and that just changes so much, right? Not just because of the pitching situation, but, these batters, they haven't seen Emerson Miller. So, if Miller can throw strikes, it could create an interesting dynamic here. But this is the one thing you can't have happen is issuing the free bases, and it's a 1-run game. Yep. Now the tying run is aboard, and we got a lot of big bats coming up here this inning.
Hallie Bunkers reaches on the walk. So next up is a senior putting one down the bunt, but it kind of kicks backwards off of the catcher, so it goes foul for an early strike. Looked like Bunkers was on the move there, so they're going to try to get her over by any means necessary. Bunkers over at first base. 8 stolen bases this season. They've got a few players in the lineup who will steal a lot of bases, but Bunkers, we'll see if she tries. She's threatening over there.
She's trying to draw a throw, and I mean, just from what we've learned, unless she is running down there, do not be throwing the ball all the way back. It's 1-1 is the count.
Pitch in there, swung on and fielded over at second base. Ben, I think we're going to have some batter obstruction again. Yep.
Yeah, she ran right into her, and Bunkers called out. She
appealing her case a little bit.
Well, but this is the thing: is sometimes the runners don't understand that it's the fielder that has the space.
Right.
They think they have the ability to just stay. Like if they're running in the baseline is theirs, but that's not the case. If a fielder is in your baseline, you do not have the ability to run into them. So that's the second time in the games we've done today. Yep. It's not something you see very typically. But you've seen, once again, runner interference, which will allow Gallus to enter in as Tentinger is going to come back in as the courtesy runner. But that was going to be a tough play no matter what happened. So instead of maybe first and second and nobody out, it is now just a first base and 1 out.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't know where she was going to go there. If she was going to try to get the tag out on Bunkers as she was trying to go to second, or if she was going to try to go ahead and get the runner at first base. But just a confluence of events. First pitch to me and Matt Gunn is fouled back for strike 1. Confluence of events, and it is just unfortunate timing. I think that too for Bunker. She's like, I didn't mean to do anything wrong. Like, what am I going to do? But that is
But the thing a runner has to do is just stop and let or go around one way or the other. And you can even get called for interference if you run in front of a fielder too closely as they're trying to field a ball.
And it's a hard thing to even be prepared for because, I mean, do you practice avoiding interference? Like it's such a rarity to have it even happen.
And how often have we seen collisions in just this game? You know, we've seen collisions with tag plays at first and third base. We've had the collision between the two pitchers on the wild pitch play at home that ended up having one of our pitchers leave the game. So, you know, you have just all this stuff and then another collision out there. You just hope that, you know, in these moments – you want everybody just to stay calm because people are getting bruises out there.
Yep, me and Matt going out with a 2-2 count against her. This pitch in high for a ball, so it's going to be a 3-2 count. Another full count as Emerson Miller, the 8th grader, playing at the state tournament. Cannot imagine the nerves of somebody in that position who's had to do it 2 days in a row now. She came on in relief and led this team all the way to the 15th inning. That one swung on, hit back to Miller at first, fielded cleanly, thrown over to first base to Wicks, and that's going to be out number 2. She's got a lot going on in her head, I'm sure, right now, but staying calm, and you can't ask for anything more out of an 8th grader than to just carry your team through in a situation like this. We have 2 outs now with a runner on second base.
And it's just interesting because she could have had to play at second there, but I think it's probably the right move to just get the sure out while you're moving toward first base, but that does put the tying run in scoring position.
Sophia Harpinon now at the plate, the sophomore right fielder. 0 for 2 today, popped out to first base and had a ground out to second base. Quick 1-out count to Harpinah as she has Tentinger over at second base trying to tie this game back up. Remsen St. Mary's down 5-4. That ball hangs low and inside, so that's going to be a 2-0 count quickly to Harpinah.
Yeah, 0 for 2. Last time, a little soft liner over to first base, but you know she wants to come through with a base hit here, and that could tie this game here in the 5th.
That ball swung on and fouled backwards. I'm curious to get your take, Emery, on the tactics of leaving Camry Grown in the game because even after the result, you can see 2 sides of it because it is the upperclassman who ends up scoring the go-ahead run. So that does look like a smart move, but then it ends up maybe not paying off as we see a swing and a miss by Harpinah to move the count to 2-2. And so now she's out of the game.
Yeah, Austin Guerrero, I mean, he knows his players. And if you're looking at Grown and what she's done, I mean, she has scored 15 runs. So she has run for herself quite a bit at different points this season. But I'm not sure they score the run as Harpinah.
Swing and a miss there by Harpinah, and we're going to dissect this game even more. But Emerson Miller, the 8th grader, comes in and gets out of it cleanly without giving up the lead. So it's still 5-4 North Butler as we're going to move on to the 6th inning here on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
SWIC is a community. Southwestern Community College is a place in rural southwest Iowa where students from across the world come to be a part of a tight-knit family, Spartan Nation, where they study, train, grow, thrive, and are called by name, not by number. At SWIC, we are one.
We're entering the 6th inning of an elimination game in the Class 1A bracket. Yesterday's results saw that both of these teams lose. Remsen St. Mary's losing 8-0 to Fort Dodge St. Edmund. And Clarksville beat North Butler 12-11 in 15 innings in an all-time classic. One of the best games we've ever seen here at the state softball tournament. An unbelievable game yesterday, and now North Butler and Remsen St. Mary's trying to keep their tournament hopes alive in this new double elimination format. Starting off the 6th inning is number 22, the freshman third baseman Kylie Grown, who's made a lot of big defensive plays this week. Now trying to keep her team going, trying to start something off for North Butler. What's the mindset of this team right now as they're adjusting to life without Camry Grown, the girl who's gotten them here to the state tournament, and now is possibly not going to see any more action the rest of the game?
Yeah, and we don't know. She could theoretically re-enter at some point, but at the same time, as you mentioned, if Emerson Miller's throwing strikes and getting out, so what are we talking about here? Right? Yeah. So they have a 1-run lead. They'd love to tack on. The lower part of the order that's due up is this a ground ball back to the pitcher for a quick out for Kylie Grown. But if the lower third here can generate some offense and score 1 or 2, that'll make it feel really, really good. Mm-hmm. Although they had multiple opportunities with multi-run leads to try to finish the game yesterday.
Yep. Many times.
They just couldn't find that last out.
I think they had the lead going into the bottom half of the inning 4 times yesterday with a chance to win it.
Yeah.
Yep. All in the 7th or later. See the first pitch here now to Briley Hinsey, the junior designated player. up to the plate with nobody on base. 1 out against North Butler, playing with a 5-4 lead and 6 outs away from keeping the tournament hopes alive. Remsen St. Mary's 6 outs away from possibly being eliminated from contention in this double elimination format. That ball comes in low for a ball, and it's going to be a 1-1 count against Henze.
Yeah, last time up, put it right on the screws, just too close to the center fielder Matt Gunn, who was able to reach out and make a catch in center field. And then to make it worse, it doubled off runner at first base on the play.
This one hit well into right field again, but this one too is going to be camped under by the right fielder Harpenoff for Remsen St. Mary's for out number 2. And just like that, we've got 2 outs and getting to the 8th batter in the order, right fielder junior Grace Pittenger. Seeing if she can get something started here. She's 0 for 2 today. 2 groundouts, 1 to the pitcher, 1 to the second baseman. Pittenger yesterday in that 15-inning game, she went 0 for 4. Still trying to get on base for the first time in the state tournament. This one swung on and hit foul down the first baseline.
Yeah,
0-1
and
count.
This is the other thing, too, right? If you are Neely Bacon in this defense, just getting a 1-2-3 and trying to get that offense back up there. Because when we talk about where they are in the order, they are lower third due up. If they can get 1 or 2 of those hitters on, that's when it will roll over and the big bats will get a shot to probably tie this game.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to keep throwing zeros up and keep this a 1-run game to feel like you have a chance against Emerson Miller.
Swung on and driven down the first base side again. That one's not going to be playable, so it's a quick 0-2 count against Grace Pittenger. Trying to get on base for the first time today, first time this week at the 1A state softball tournament. An eventful first few innings, and it slowed down a little bit from there. We had 6 combined runs between the two teams in the first 2 innings, and then 1 run for North Butler in the top of the 3rd, then another 2 in the top of the 5th. All zeros outside of that. This ball comes in there, and it's going to be low and outside for a ball. Just misses the strike zone, so a 1-2 count now against Grace Pittenger. Tries to get a little bit of another rally going now for North Butler, who would love to tack on more. As we saw in the last game, North Butler, no lead safe for them when they were playing against Clarksville. Another ball makes the count 2-2.
Yeah, and I mean, if we go back and it would be interesting to talk to like a sports psychologist about how they've played today, trying to just forget about what happened yesterday. Because they've played really well today also. That's a tough thing to come back from after being so close yesterday.
This ball popped up, and that is going to land for an infield single. She is safe at first base. Boy, that was a great throw by the second baseman for Remsen St. Mary's. I think that was
Schrader.
Schrader, yeah, Dylan Schrader, the freshman who got to that. Nearly did catch her at first base, but it does fall, and now Grace Pittenger has her first base hit of this year's state tournament. A 2-out single to reach first, leg that one out, and now North Butler has a runner aboard, and we're going to
be a different runner.
We're going to see a courtesy runner here, number 3.
Corey Crone.
Corey Crone, the pinch runner here for North Butler.
Now running at first base for North Butler, number 3.
So
let's find out a little bit about Corey Crone.
All the Groans have been a part of this game as well.
They all played a significant role in yesterday's game, certainly, and finding a way to make a difference today. This one, Corey Crone, she is an 8th grader, but she's played a lot this year. Now it's the bottom of the order, Eden Wicks, who, as we've mentioned a few times, she had a home run in yesterday's game that helped pad the lead for North Butler temporarily, and boy, had a really well-hit ball in the 5th inning, one that ended up with her being tagged out at third base. Is one of the strangest plays we've seen so far. She swings and misses that one, and Groen in there with a steal over at second base. That was a close play. Boy, it looked like they might have gotten the throw in time, but Groen gets over there. The 8th grader, Corey Groen, gets over to second with her. I believe that is her 5th steal of the season. So now runner in scoring position for Eden Wicks, trying to find an empty spot in the outfield again. This ball is going to be in there for strike 3, looking 1-2-3. Strikeout for Eden Wicks to finish off the order. They're going to see their top of the order in the top of the 7th inning, but when we come back, it's going to be the bottom of the order for Remsen St. Mary's. You're watching the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Ready? Let's go.
Mom, over here. Yeah, this kind of thing can happen when you're hiking, but no worries, Mom. I can prescribe something to soothe the itch.
Unity Point Health looks at your family's health from your point of view, offering same-day appointments with expertise focused on what matters most to you. Unity Point Health, expert care focused on you.
Back with the bottom of the sixth inning here at the state softball tournament, and an interesting development once again here for North Butler, who we saw Emerson Miller, the 8th grader, sub in after Camry Grown had a tough collision at home plate there when she scored in the 5th inning. Had to come out, and then Remsen St. Mary's faced the 8th grader Emerson Miller, but now we have Camry Grown back in the circle. Another surprising turn of events. I didn't see that coming.
Well, it's interesting, the re-entry rule. I was wondering if maybe that was something they were going to try to figure out with her, is just, hey, let's take it easy. Let's not rush you back out there, as she had the collision with Neely Bacon, who's actually at the plate now, as Grown was running for herself on the base pass and ran into her as they were trying to score an additional run. The run was safe. That is the run that's the difference on the scoreboard right now, so It still looms large, but after just an inning where Emerson Miller threw up a 0, again, what a job by her. Grown gets to go back out there, and she is going to pick up, hopefully, for North Butler, where she left off.
Camry Grown now re-enters and facing off with her counterpart, Neely Bacon, at the plate. Bacon sees one go high, and the count's going to go to 1-1. Bacon Day reached on an error and did score a run in the 2nd inning. Then she popped out to the catcher in the 3rd. So this is her 3rd at-bat of the game. Bacon trying to find a little bit of momentum, trying to build some life in Remsen St. Mary's lineup. That ball is just high outside of the zone. We're going to check over at first base, check swing, and that is ruled a ball, so it's going to be 2-1 against Neely Bacon. Camry Grown stepping back into the circle and just dissecting some of the lineups as we look towards next season, what we're going to see. I have to think North Butler is going to be one of the favorites, maybe a top 10 team in the early polls because of the amount of talent they bring back, as that pitch is swung on a miss by Neely Bacon to make the count 2-2. But they've just, not only do they have so much returning talent, they've got 2 returning pitchers who have state tournament experience now, who are doing so well. I mean, they've got all the Grown sisters coming back, not hardly losing anything out of the senior class. So this is going to be a North Butler team that's going to be a force to be reckoned with next year. That ball just high outside of the zone, 3-2 against Neely Bacon. So we're going to see Camry Grown now with a payoff pitch. She'd love to retire the next 3 batters just to avoid seeing any of the top of the order. We know we're going to see at least 1, 2, 3 hitters for Remsen St. Mary's again today. This ball swung on and hit over to second base. Slow roller, fielded, and sent over to Wicks at first base. And as I was saying, that's exactly what North Butler is going to want to see out of a batter in the 7th spot.
Yeah, so Bacon eventually grounds out to Ingalls at second. The only senior we've seen play is Colby Wicks out in left field. Wow. That is the only player for North Butler. So you want to talk about important state tournament experience for a team that can play good. I mean, they're already a good team. So, yeah, I mean, whether or not we can talk about last night's game and how different everything looks if they were 1-0, having a game to try to go 2-0 today. But here, fighting for their lives, I just think this has shown what they've been made of and what Austin Guerrero put into this team, just because, I mean, that is as heartbreaking a loss as you're going to have, and to come back and play as well as they have today.
This ball hit well into left field, but playable, and it's going to be caught out in left by Colby Wicks, the one senior on this roster who we just mentioned. So a quick 2 outs now for Remsen St. Mary's, and it's going to bring up the sophomore designated player Kimberly Cronin out of the very bottom of the order. She's had a nice game, had a single and an RBI and a run scored in the 2nd inning. Had a ground out to pitcher her last time up in the 4th, and now trying to keep the inning alive.
But that ground out was after an 8-pitch at bat. So, I mean, she really has made Grown work the 2 times she has seen her.
First pitch of the at-bat. Upstairs a bit for a ball. Nope. Called it too early. Caught the high part of the strike zone, I should say, as John Nonson gives us another late call. So 0-1 count to make me look foolish once again.
Maybe he's just doing that on purpose.
He can hear me.
Yeah, he hears us talking about
dialed in.
Hey, you know what? It's a fingerprint. Everybody does it a little bit differently. As long as the players know what's going on, that's all that matters.
1-1 count now. The heart of both orders will bat again in the top of the 7th inning, assuming that this one ends before too long. That one fouled out, so it's a 1-2 count, but we're going to see the top of the order in the top of the 7th for North Butler with Thompson, Shook, and Grown coming to the plate, and same deal for Remsen St. Mary's. No matter what, their top of the order is going to come back up to the plate, whether that's this inning or next inning. Going to see their best 3 hitters come to the plate again. This ball swung on a hit over to second base. Bobbled initially, thrown over, and they do complete the play. Not exactly a clean operation, but they do get the out at first base. Kimberly Cronin retired. So we're going to go to the final inning with North Butler holding a 5-4 lead, trying to pad it. We'll see what happens as we go to the final inning. You're watching the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
At Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
To the 7th inning we go in an elimination game at the 1A state tournament. Remsen, St. Mary's, and North Butler on the field as we head to the top of the 7th. And the top of the order coming up for North Butler, Zoe Thompson, Charlotte Shook, Camry Grown. Exactly who North Butler wants to see at the plate if they want to pad this lead. They've given up a few leads already at this state tournament, but this is who you want at the plate if they want to try to add a little bit of insurance, as Thompson sees a ball come through there to start this 7th inning. Just talk me through this mindset, Emery. What North Butler's thinking right now after all the dramatics that we saw yesterday in what looked a lot of times like final innings. How can this team hold on to this lead now as we head to the 7th?
Well, it would help getting 2 or 3 more here, and that goes without saying, obviously. But one run can do wonders for just making you feel a little bit better that a single mistake or a single hitter couldn't tie the game alone. As it's now 3-0 to Thompson. If you can manufacture one, you'd love 2 or 3, put a crooked number up there, and then try to finally finish the job. For Remsen, St. Mary's, again, it goes without saying, give me 1, 2, 3. Give me 0, and let's get that offense back out there because the top of their order is due up in the bottom of this inning.
Neely Bacon not giving Zoe Thompson anything to hit. Gives her a 4-pitch walk to put her on first base. Not a situation where you think she's necessarily going to pitch around her, because Remsen does not want to put any runners aboard for any of these batters coming up. There's a lot of talented hitters at the top part of this lineup, so it's not going to really help you putting anybody on base. But now to the plate steps the catcher, Charlotte Shook, who's 0 for 3 today at the plate. Thompson, she's had 2 stolen bases so far. I have to imagine that Austin Guerrero, he's been aggressive all tournament long, and got to imagine he'll be aggressive again.
Oh, I would be shocked if she's not going at some point in this at-bat.
Shook with a quick 1-0 count. This ball down there low as well. It's going to be 2-0 against Shook. 6 straight balls to start this inning. Neely Bacon trying to find some sort of rhythm now.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right, is sometimes that can pile up on you when you're trying to throw strikes and you just can't find the zone at that point.
This pitch swung on, hit over to shortstop, fielded, and thrown over to second for the out. Can't quite get the double play at first. Ball goes back to the dugout. They're going to complete the double play over at second base. Shook thought she might be able to get over second back into scoring position, but she gets thrown out on the play. So we saw Thompson out at second on the fielder's choice. Shook reached first. The throw went over to the fence. She thought she'd take off for second, but an easily completed out, frankly, over at second base to complete the double play. And now North Butler, instead of having a runner in scoring position, they have Camry Grown coming to the plate with 2 outs and nobody on base. First pitch to Grown. Swung on, lifted high, looks like it's playable. The first baseman camping out but can't quite make the catch. First baseman, senior Josie Schwickrath, had her glove on that one. Thought she might be able to complete the play, but it drops out, so there's new life for Camry Grown. An eventful at-bat to finish that one off. Don't quite know.
Yeah,
I lost track of the numbers to put on my scorebook.
I think it's 6-4-3-6, and no error on the play because nobody truly advanced on a misplay. So just another one to put it on the bingo card.
Uh-huh.
And, man, we have had a lot of the bingo card the first 2 days in this 1A tournament.
We've seen a couple of double plays today. Just with the nature of how
weird
small
double
the field.
Plays. The other Eden Wicks one was also crazy. Center field to the first baseman, and then there was an error, and then she got thrown out.
So Cameron Grown swings this one, hit well into right field, finds the corner. This is going to be extra bases for Grown. She's reaching second base, and she's held up there. I thought they might waver over with Austin Guerrero and his aggressive style. I thought he might waver into third, but with her having maybe a little bit of she was holding her leg earlier, so
the last thing you want to do is stretch that out, even if she's safe, and potentially have another issue where the pitcher you'd like to finish the game get injured, and she'll get her runner back in here in Parno. But, man, I got to tell you what, how about that? You give her a second chance after the pop-up wasn't caught. And how about flipping it down the right field line, opposite field? We saw in her last at-bat, she lifted one that looked like it was home run distance foul on the right side. So she really can elevate and with some pop to the opposite field. What a dangerous hitter.
So how about the 8th grader Harper Ingalls? What can she do? Can she help North Butler out and add to this lead, this 5-4 advantage that the Bearcats have now in the top of the 7th inning? We do have a courtesy runner. Looks like Zoe Parnell's back out there on second base, making sure
Which makes a lot of sense after the adventure that Grown had on the base paths last time.
That's right.
She ran for herself.
And I said this yesterday, how much of an extra base specialist Grown is. She had 3 hits yesterday. I think all of those were singles, and so that's her first extra base hit of the tournament. Over 60% of her base hits this year have been for extra bases, and so continues that theme today with just a perfectly placed double. That one hits Harper Ingalls. She wears it to reach base for the 2nd straight time. She reached on an error in the 5th and now gets hit, and so that puts 2 on now for Mackenzie Schultz, the sophomore, coming to the plate now with 2 runners aboard, 1 in scoring position, 2 outs. Sophomore comes to the plate trying to add to the lead again. North Butler doing everything they can to just get a little bit more in this game. They did this in the last game where they scored, did they have 3 runs, I think, in the 7th inning in their last game?
Yeah.
To take a 6-2 lead?
A 6-2 lead and then just could not quite finish it off. So, but that's what I'm saying here is there's no quit. How big is that double play they were eventually able to turn earlier in the frame? But the double by Grown, which, by the way, another Channel Seeds extra base hit, and then the hit by pitch by Ingalls, now a chance for Schultz to try to tack on a run.
That one hit, and it's going to reach through the middle. Guerrero waving in the runner, and she's going to be in time at the plate. The run scores. Parno scores all the way from second base. And Schultz is in with a single, advances to second base, and runners at 2nd and 3rd now. North Butler takes a 6-4 lead. Schultz delivers with an RBI that reached through the left side, just in that perfect position that you want, right in between the second baseman and the shortstop. She's going to go all the way around to second, credited with an RBI, and Parno scores.
Yeah,
to give North Butler now a 6-4 lead.
And Erica Bates is going to bring in the entire team here to chat with them about what they're going to do and what they need to think about. Remember, there was a pop-up by Camry Grown on the first pitch that she saw, first base side. They were unable to squeeze it for Remsen St. Mary's. Could have gotten him out of the inning with a 0. Instead, Grown ends up doubling. Ingalls gets hit by a pitch, and then Mackenzie Schultz, her 2nd RBI single of the game. And it's still not over yet because you have runners on 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs for Kylie Grown, who's looking for her first hit today. But 2 runs is not enough if you're North Butler. I mean, we talk about that throughout. They went with a 4-run lead into the 7th inning and couldn't find a way to finish it out yesterday. I know that sounds like a broken record, but you can't – like that lives in your brain somewhere, right? So a base hit here to maybe score 2 more, that would go a long way to helping your confidence going into the bottom of the inning.
2 runners in scoring position for Kylie Grown, the freshman. Sees the first pitch hit high and outside of the zone for ball 1. Yeah, there are certain situations where sometimes you'll even credit these as unearned runs now if you wanted to label that an error by the missed pitch.
I do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not the official book, but that's how I would score it.
The next pitch in there for a strike, 1-1 quickly against Kylie Grown, who would love to give her team even more cushion, already with a 2-run lead now as we're going to go to the bottom of the 7th with Remsen St. Mary's trailing, trying to come back and trying to break the hearts of North Butler fans again. This will pitch to Grown, hit to second base. The ball is fielded and sent over. Kylie Grown is retired at first base.
Great play by Schrader there, by the way.
It certainly, fielded ball that kind of took a tough hop, but she brought it in and was able to deliver it over cleanly. So limits the damage, but 1 run does score for North Butler. We're going to go to the bottom of the 7th with the Bearcats hanging on to a 6-4 lead on the Girls Union Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
Something exciting is growing on Iowa farms these days. Innovation. From tractors that seed, weed, and harvest with data-driven precision to drones that scout or plant cover crops to protect soil and water. Even our animals live in smart homes with round-the-clock care. Technology keeps your food safer, water cleaner, and makes us more sustainable. Because what we do here benefits everyone here. Life on the farm makes everyone's life better.
It's crunch time. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning with North Butler hanging on to a 6-4 lead against Remsen St. Mary's in an elimination game. Do or die time in this new double elimination format that we have here at the state softball tournament. Both these teams lost their first-round games on Monday and now trying to come back and try to keep their hopes for a state championship alive. Anything is possible in this new double elimination format, but after this half inning, the state championship hopes for one team goes to rest. But we are going to see the top of the order for Remsen St. Mary's. Their most dangerous batters coming to the plate, starting with a freshman shortstop, Chloe Homan, who's been outstanding today. She reached on a walk in the first, had a double in the second, had a triple in the fourth. She's been everywhere, scored 2 runs, has an RBI. Chloe Homan, exactly who you want in this situation to try to set the pace, set up the tempo for Remsen St. Mary's.
Did have a defensive change, and I think it's going to be notable just to keep an eye on this. 8th grader Corey Groan is now in right field.
This ball lifted into left field, but not going to be playable. Going to fall foul to have one quick strike against Homan. Sorry, carry on.
Yes, Corey Groan comes in defensively and replaces Grace Pittenger in right field. So you have Corey Groan in right. Camry Groan is still pitching in the circle after re-entering, and Kylie Groan is at third base. So they're all 3 out there defensively together.
So the 3 Groan sisters take the field defensively for North Butler as we carry on in the bottom of the 7th inning. 0-1 count. This pitch just kind of slips out of the hands of Camry Groan, I think.
A 15-footer there.
Rolled all the way to the catcher about halfway down the middle. So 1-1 count. Chloe Homan trying to find some heroics once again. This pitch checked. We're going to appeal, and she did go around the third base umpire, Josh Perkins. He does say that she swung on that one, so it's a 1-2 count against Homan, who's been nothing but clutch for this team today.
That's a big call there.
2 for 2 with 2 runs scored. This pitch doesn't quite catch the outside corner. Good pitch. Yeah, great pitch for Groan, just to try to find something that might get called in the quarter, might find her swinging. But Homan, talented freshman player for the Hawks, lays off of that one, and it's a 2-2 count now. Pitch across the plate. This one driven over to the left side, and it's through into the outfield for a base hit.
Man, she can really hit.
Boy, that's going in as a single?
For sure.
So we can officially say she's a home run away from the cycle now. Single, double, triple, and a walk today for Chloe Homan, who's reached base all 4 times today. Unbelievable performance by her today.
Yeah, it's almost like somebody said in the pregame that she was what had to happen.
He's calling for it.
Yeah, but again, but her run doesn't matter, right? Theoretically, the tying run is at the plate. That's the run that matters. Atlanta Jungers is at the plate right now. But then you mentioned the hitters after her. Hallie Bunkers, Grace Gallus, Mia Matkin, who's the best hitter overall statistically. Those guys would be on deck on their way. So you got to score that run, but you got to get another one as well.
And we're going to see a 1-1 count to Atlanta Jungers so far. One of the seniors on this Remsen St. Mary's lineup, batting .321 this year. She would love to find her way into a base hit right now with a runner on board and nobody out so far for Remsen St. Mary's. Can North Butler hold the lead today, or will they see another win at the state tournament slip through their fingers? The 1-1 pitch in there. She shows bunt line right back to the pitcher, but she misfields it. They get the out at first and now doubled off at second.
Wait a second. What just happened? They called her out on the catch and said that it was on a transfer. And so at second base, and I think the umpires are going to have to talk to each other because the umpires outside, like the home plate umpire, John Nonson, immediately called her out.
Okay.
Now, it looked like she had it. I'm not sure she came down with it and it slipped out of her hand. They're going to have to talk about it, but that impacted what Homan was doing at first base, and then she thought that this was a live ball and then ran to second. So there was some communication with the umpires in the play, but I'm not sure they all had the same call. And so initially, at least what we have now is Jungers would be out on the catch, but it looked like they had called the runner home and safe at second base. So it looks like that's what we're going to have.
Okay, so we do still have just the one out with the runner advancing. I didn't know if they would bring her back to first, so do we?
So she just moved. It's kind of sacrifice.
So she tag up?
Yeah, it's like a tag play in theory because she didn't leave early.
I almost feel like they should throw over to first base just to, sometimes you'll see a team do that after somebody scores. They'll throw it over to third just to double check that they
in case she
didn't tag up. But so we do have a runner at second.
And I'm guessing that was talked about between the umpires there, but they're going to throw home, so it's not going to matter either way. And again, that runner, she matters, she needs to score, but it isn't the tying run. The tying run is still the hitter at the plate.
Yeah, Cameron Groan knows that she can still focus on the batter at the plate.
Exactly.
Not worry too much about Chloe Homan. That pitch is in there low for ball 2, so it's a 2-0 count now to Hallie Bunkers, who comes to the plate. Walked in her last at bat, had a sac fly in the first inning, and popped up to second base in the second. So 0 for 1 today still for Hallie Bunkers, who could bring Remsen St. Mary's back within a run if she can deliver with a base hit here. With the speed of Chloe Homan, she certainly could score on anything that reaches the outfield. This ball upstairs for ball 3. So it's a 3-0 count on Hallie Bunkers. If she reaches, would mean that the go-ahead run, potentially game-winning run, would be stepping to the plate in the form of Grace Gallus. 3-0 pitch comes in across the plate for a strike. This will be a 3-1 count now on Bunkers. 6-4 lead for North Butler, doing everything they can to hold on to a lead. They had a 4-run lead in yesterday's game in the 7th inning, gave it up and sent it to many extra innings. This ball swung on and missed, so it's a full count now on Hallie Bunkers.
What a way for Grown to bounce back. A 3-0 count. You don't want to walk the tying run on base and bring up the potential go-ahead winning run to the plate. So to come back and make this a full count, good job by her. Can she find the out pitch?
3-2 pitch is swung on and lifted foul over on the third base side. So we're going to do it all again. Another payoff pitch coming for Camry Grown. A lot riding on this one, and you have to think the mentality of the North Butler team. They have to be at least thinking about everything that happened yesterday in that game, as they were not even just an inning away from a win, but an out, a strike, a throw away from a win on so many occasions in that game against Clarksville, and couldn't quite finish a job. 3-2 pitch, swung on, lifted over to the shortstop. Over the head of the shortstop, goes to shallow left field, but it's just shallow enough that Chloe Holman does hold up, so she's going to be at third base. Bunkers, after the base hit, she advances over to second base. So now we have runners on second and third with Grace Gallus about to step to the plate. Here we go again. North Butler, the infield, going to come over and collect themselves. Time to just recalibrate, make sure they figure everything out, know where the out's going to go. What are they talking about there in the circle right now?
Well, this is the one thing that you have to make sure everybody knows what base we're throwing to, what out we're getting. Now, you need 2 outs. There's only 1 out in the inning. The runner at third, I'm going to say this. It sounds ridiculous when I say it this way, but that's not the run that matters. That run does not matter. You're trying to keep the runner at second from scoring. So if you get a ground ball on the infield somewhere, get your out at first base. Okay. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to cut down the runner at home unless you know you have her. Get that second out, and you just can't let that runner on second score.
So Grace Gallus is at the plate now. Watches the first ball come in there low and inside for ball 1. 1-0 count early for Gallus. Now with runners on second and third. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Remsen St. Mary's tying runners at second base. Go-ahead run at the plate. Another ball upstairs for ball 2. Grace Gallus. The question is, do you take the time if you're an infielder, if the ball goes back to the pitcher, do they make sure they look back the runner at third, or do they just complete the operation and get the out at first?
I'm getting the out no matter what.
Okay.
So I don't know how they're coached, but I'm getting my out at first base if I have a chance to make it, unless I know I have her at home.
2-0 pitch coming to Gallus. She swings and she cuts it backwards into the net to get a strike on her, so the count goes 2-1 now. Grace Gallus on the season hitting .225. Maybe not the speediest player, certainly. 0 stolen bases this season, but she's a catcher, so obviously has a courtesy runner more often than not. So she could hustle over there to first base, but Gallus now with a 2-1 count. The pitch incoming, and that one is inside. So ball 3.
And this is the potential game-winning run at home plate here. So if she gets aboard, that changes the entire dynamic as well.
Yep, 3-1 count now. Pitch coming from Grown. This pitch across the plate. Slow dribbler down the third base line.
Hit her.
Oh, hit her. Okay.
Yep. Immediately ruled a foul ball by home plate umpire John Nonson. Hit her front foot.
Okay.
So now another full count. She had a full count on Bunkers, the previous batter, and then Bunkers put it in play in the left field. Really would like to get an out here.
So we're going to have the payoff pitch from Camry Grown to Grace Gallus. A lot riding on every single pitch at this point. Not just the outcome of a run or this game, but somebody's tournament life, somebody's tournament hopes is going to die in this game. Grown across the plate. This one lined up, back the middle. The run will score, and Gallus is going to be safe at first base. They hold the runner over at third. 1 run scores. Remsen St. Mary's has now pulled within a run, so it's 6-5. Gallus with a slow roller that just got past the pitcher. Camry Grown couldn't quite field it, got to the shortstop. Going to probably go in the books as an infield single, so it
has to be. Yeah.
So Gallus is going to be subbed out, of course, as she has all game for the courtesy runner, Tentinger. Tentinger will now represent the go-ahead potential game-winning run.
And you would imagine she's going to be taking second here early in this at-bat with Matkin, who happens to be the best hitter in this order.
Mia Matkin coming to the plate. 1 for 3 today. She had that big double in the third inning that did not result in any runs, but well-hit ball into left field. Here's a pitch. She's showing bunt, and, of course, we see the steal over. They threw it over to shortstop. I think that what North Butler was trying to do there was maybe draw the runner off of third base, see if they could get her in a rundown.
That was, and you know what? It wasn't executed cleanly, but it's the right play there in that situation to see if you can catch them napping. But now the winning run is at second with just one out, and I think an appropriate conversation here from Austin Guerrero and North Butler in the infield and the battery just to make sure everybody knows what they're going to do here. But the single by bunkers missed the glove of Thompson by probably about a foot. It was pretty close to being, in her grasp.
Yeah.
She wasn't going to be able to reach it, but it wasn't far away. And then that one, you couldn't run out there behind the pitcher and drop that ball in a better spot to not have an out recorded there with 2 on base. So, and now all of a sudden you have the tying run 60 feet away. You have the winning run at second base. North Butler in a very familiar situation. They were in this spot almost a handful of times in that game against Clarksville yesterday. Can they find a way, and how are they going to handle Matkin here with first base open? You almost just would rather have somebody else beat you in my book, at least.
That's what I was thinking, because Sophia Harpendon would be next up. Matkin watches this one go outside for her ball. I didn't know if they would give her even the intentional walk, but
and it might be an intentional, unintentional walk sort of thing.
Right.
And now we're going to have.
I think there's some question mark about what the count is, so the umpires just want to confer with each other and make sure.
I have 1-1.
Okay.
He called a late strike on the last pitch, I thought.
So he's kind of conferring with Mia Matkin right now. So it is a 1-1 count against her, not 2-0.
All right, so it is 1-1 to Matkin. And we'll see. That last one was pretty far outside. We'll see what they do here.
1-1 pitch. Comes across, swung on, and fouled backwards, so it goes to a 1-2 count.
And
every
that means
pitch.
they are
so
challenging
important.
her.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't know if we'd see that, but Cameron Grown, at this point in the game, if you're Guerrero, the aggressive nature continues for him, I think, where he's just wanting to go right after every single batter. Let this pitcher who brought you here to the state tournament, let her finish it off. 1-2 pitch. Comes across, just misses on the outside. That's going to be 2-2. Matkin seeing if she can deliver here. I don't know what's the situation defensively if you're North Butler. Now, if the ball goes in play, do you try to get the out at home? Or
you think about it for sure.
Yeah, with the tying run now at third base. 2-2 pitch across and swung on, lifted down the third base side, but well out of play. So the count will remain 2-2 with runners on second and third. North Butler clinging to a 6-5 lead, already with one run across, and Chloe Homan, who scored a few moments ago, and now the winning run is on second base for Remsen St. Mary's. Mia Matkin, who's 1 for 3 today. 2-2 pitch. Also on the outside, so the count is going to go full. I think we've had 3 straight at-bats now with a full count, and the last 2 have resulted in a single for Remsen St. Mary's. See if that trend holds now with Mia Matkin, if she can deliver with a base hit, or can Camry Grown find it out here. 3-2 pitch is swung on a miss by Mia Matkin. A strikeout, the first for Camry Grown since the bottom of the 5th inning. Huge turn of events.
Her first since the 4th. The 5th, it was Emerson Miller.
That was Miller, wasn't it? Yes, good call. Good call.
What a pitch to get her out. I was not sure they were going to challenge her, and she ends up finding a way to get the strikeout, which was the perfect thing there for them. And now she's just 1 out away from getting out of this with a win.
And with a sophomore right fielder who's 0 for 3 today, Sophia Harpendon stepping to the plate. A lot riding on the shoulders of this sophomore. Down 1, Remsen St. Mary's with runners on second and third. Now with 2 outs, what can you do here? Can you pull it off? Can you break North Butler's hearts again with a base hit in the first ever meeting between these two teams? Coming here in Fort Dodge. One team going to be going home without any hope for any more games here at the state tournament. The other is going to live on to play at least one more game here. The first pitch is swung on, driven into center field. Going back, it's over the head of the center fielder, and it's going to drop. And that's your game. Sophia Harpinaugh delivers in the biggest way possible. A walk-off, 2-run single. I don't know if she even knew that the game was over. It took the coaches to come over and tell her that the game was over. She just delivered with a 2-run single that wins Remsen St. Mary's the game. Incredible finish. Harpinaugh with a deep ball that reached all the way to the fence, out of the reach of the center fielder, Mackenzie Schultz for North Butler. Hearts broken again. They had it happen yesterday when they took a lead in the 7th inning and gave up 4 runs to send it to extras. Today, a 2-run lead going into the bottom of the 7th, and 3 runs given up to Remsen St. Mary's, who lives to fight another day. The championship hopes for this never say die Remsen St. Mary's team is still alive. Break this down for me, Emery. What did we just see?
Well, and it's all like yesterday, North Butler, and they're going to rue multiple errors that cost them. But in this inning, 4th time through the order, it was good hitting. Chloe Homan with the single. You had the weird line drive play out there to the pitcher by Jungers and Groen. They ruled a catch, but they allowed the runner to go to second base. And then Bunkers a single in the left on a full count pitch. You had Gallus with the single on the infield single on a full count pitch. The strikeout to Mackin, which we thought was really important, but then Harpin on the first pitch, ready to hit, and hit a line drive over the head of Schultz in center.
First pitch she saw, right? That was the first pitch of that bat.
It was, and a 2-run single to win a game that it felt like had slipped through their fingers. You really feel for North Butler, though. What a terrible way for your season to end. But as they get their trophy and celebrate the fact that they made it back here to the state tournament, but both of those games within range, one out away both days, and could not find a way to get the final out.
So many times yesterday where North Butler looked like maybe the best team in the state. They looked like the better team many times against Clarksville, but just couldn't quite ever hold on to a lead. Their season now is over after making it to the state tournament for the first time since 2021, and Remsen St. Mary's is still alive. So the bracket moving forward in this bottom half of things in Class 1A means that Remsen St. Mary's is alive, and they are going to play whom next, Emery?
Oh, man.
He doesn't know, and neither do I. With this double elimination format, it's a little tough for us to both keep track of things. They actually are going to play the winner of
the loser
of the next game that we see.
Clarksville and St. Edmund.
Yes. So Clarksville and St. Edmund is the next game up.
There we go.
The loser of that game will play Remsen St. Mary's, again, with that game being a do-or-die game with the loser going home from the state tournament. Another unbelievable game.